So, welcome everyone officially to the Art of Letting Go Masterclass. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate your time. And my name's Jonathan Quail. If you don't know me, because Kaz is introduced to me, there's Desiree, and I'll be just taking you through a couple of hours of what should be pretty interesting information. I hope. It's all about transformation. It's about learning, as I said, what's the one essential skill that we need to learn in order to transform our lives, and I'll reveal that in the presentation. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen and just take you into it. Hi Desiree, can you hear us? Just make sure Desiree's good. There's Samati. Okay, she joined us earlier. Great. Okay, so everyone's joining. Welcome. And then Celeste. Great. Welcome. Welcome everyone. So I'm just going to share my screen. If you can just let me know if you can see that. Oh, hallelujah. Load shedding suspended. That's always good. Got some good news from Eskom. So hopefully we won't be interrupted by load shedding. So I think if I can ask you just to put your phone on mute or silent for this time, so that you just give yourself some space, some time to do this, and just dedicate your time and attention to it, and you'll get more out of the session that way. There we go. Lots of people joining. Wow, thank you, Kaz. Amazing. Want to do my marketing for me, perhaps? Amazing. So welcome everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Everyone hear me? Okay, everyone see the screen? Can you see the Art of Letting Go Masterclass screen? Great, you can. All right, perfect. Is anyone still waiting to be let in? Hi Celeste, nice to meet you. Thanks for joining. So yeah, I think I'm gonna kick it off now. So we're just after 8, and I've got a lot to get through. So if anyone joins us late, then they join us late. So welcome everyone again. Officially, I just did that, but for those who just dropped in, thank you for joining me for this 2-hour journey. It's called the Art of Letting Go Masterclass. It's really about how to let go and find your flow. My name's Jonathan Quail. I'll be your presenter and host. So this is actually the full title of what we're going to cover tonight. So how to master the art of letting go of any stressful thought or emotion in a matter of minutes. I'm just actually quickly before I go into this, I'm just going to mute everyone so that we don't have any disturbance. So if you should have any questions, what I'd suggest is keep them till the end. Make a note of them. There will be time for questions at the end. There's quite a few of us, so I don't want too many interruptions. Just make a note of them, and then I'll cover them at the end. And it's quite likely I'll probably answer it in the course of the presentation because it's quite comprehensive. So I'm just going to put everyone on mute so we don't get background noise and interference and so on. When it comes to questions and any interaction, I'll unmute you. Okay, so mute everyone. And do we have someone trying to enter? It would be good to make sure everyone's in. It's not showing me anyone trying to come in. Okay, so this is the full title of the masterclass: How to Master the Art of Letting Go of Any Stressful Thought or Emotion in a Matter of Minutes, and Find Authentic Happiness, Fulfilling Flow, Higher Purpose, Ecstatic Well-Being, and True Success, to thrive through adversity in these turbulent times that we live in by tapping into the transformative power of 7 ancient spiritual techniques. So it's quite a mouthful. It's quite a lot there, but that's what I'm going to unpack for you over the course of the next couple of hours. So thanks again for joining us. So just a little bit of structure. What are the objectives on structure? I'm going to guide you through a simple breathing exercise to help you to relax and be fully present, which I'll do right now. Because you might have had a busy day, Sunday, family day, just to kind of settle in and focus your attention on this process 100%. So I invite you now just to, if you haven't already done it, mute your phone or switch it off if you're not using a phone to connect on Zoom. If you're using a computer, you don't need your phone. Just make sure you're not going to be disturbed. Sitting comfortably, your feet shoulder width apart. Keep your back straight. Close your eyes. And you're going to start off with a nice deep breath in through the nose. So you breathe in. You notice how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Just paying attention to all the subtle sensations of the breath. Pausing at the top of the inhale briefly. You're going to scan your mind and notice any thoughts and any emotions going on there. Anything you're carrying. And now you just very simply, as you exhale out through the nose, just put all your attention on the breath. So notice the subtle sensation of the air flowing out of the nostrils. Just letting it all go and having a sense of just releasing that thought and that emotion, whatever it was, with the breath. So there's a natural letting go with the breath, just that help you to let go. Pause at the bottom of the exhale, find a little bit of stillness, and then just smoothly, naturally move into the next inhale. So you're just going to focus on watching your breath. Just breathing in and out through your nose. In your own time, find a nice rhythm. And have a sense of the breath just happening through you, for you, to you. You're not really doing anything. It's just breath breathing you. And if any thoughts arise again, notice them. If it helps you to imagine they're just like cloud patterns, just shifting, changing, moving around all the time. But we know the clouds aren't real. They are substanceless. You go through a cloud, there's no substance to it. Seems to be solid, but it's not. So, same way these thoughts are substanceless. They have no true existence. You just observe them and you focus all your attention on the breath. And focus on this very narrow area, just in your nostrils, between your nostrils and your upper lip. Put all your attention there. If your mind wants to wander somewhere else, you're thinking about the past, the future, what you have to do the week ahead, the weekend is just gone. Just refocus. Put your attention entirely on the breath. And just observe the subtle sensation of the breath flowing into your nostrils and out of your nostrils. And you're getting calmer and quieter with each breath. Just letting yourself sink in with the breath into a deeper state of awareness. Going deeper and deeper with each breath into a calm, quiet, peaceful place in your mind, which is always there, but often you're not aware of it. Your mind is busy in the world, active with all kinds of thoughts, feelings that cloud your awareness, obscure this peaceful awareness. So just allow yourself to really go into this for a minute of silence. I'm not going to speak, and just observe the breath. There's nothing else to do, there's nowhere else to go, nothing else to think about. Just observe the subtle sensations, the breath flowing in, the breath flowing out. Let the peace that comes from us just arise in your mind. Next 2 minutes of deep silence. And if any thoughts arise, you just observe them. Imagine they're like clouds, and you just let them go. As you exhale, releasing them, blowing them away with the breeze of your breath to the nothingness they really are. And finding a place in your mind where there's just peace. You don't really need to think at all. Just the blue sky beyond the clouds just is what it is. So give yourself the gift of just breathing and being in that awareness, which is your true awareness for the next minute or so of deep silence. And so just gently coming back to an awareness of the body. On count to 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just taking a nice deep breath in, breathing in, noticing how stomach arises, chest rises, subtle flow of air in through the nostrils, pausing, just check in and scan your mind. So noticing whatever thoughts and emotions are arising, noticing sensations, noticing what you're hearing. Helicopters just flown over, so you might have heard that behind my voice. Just notice all of this objectively, so there's no judgment, no attachment to any of it. And then you exhale, exhaling out through your nose, letting it all go. So on the count of 2, notice the weight of your body pressing down into chair, your feet touching the ground. Notice what you're feeling with your hands touching. Maybe there's a subtle flow of air on your skin. Breathe that air in. Notice again, touch of the breath in your nostrils. Notice any smell in your nose, taste in your mouth. And notice what you're hearing. Whatever the sounds are, just observe them without interpretation, without judgment. And so this peace goes with you. If you experience some peace in the last 10 minutes, this carries with you always. You just stay rooted in it, even while the senses are active, you're aware of them. This peace is still there. So you're going to carry this with you for the session, and just keep some awareness on the breathing, just this nice, deep, slow, rhythmical breath. If you keep watching your breath a little bit as we go through the masterclass, you'll find that helps your awareness, helps you to pay more attention, to get more out of it. So it is said, so it is done, and on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So just looking around for 30 seconds, bringing yourself back, and notice maybe there's been a subtle shift in your state of mind compared to 10 minutes ago. If you've done the meditation for 10 minutes, start observing how you feel differently after a little meditation. It was a breathing exercise, but it was also a very basic meditation practice, which is just called breath watching. So that's the first objective of the masterclass. We've done a breathing exercise, and hopefully you're more present and more focused and more relaxed for the rest of the evening. And secondly, I'm going to share one secret skill that you need to master to allow your life to work miraculously. This is the one essential skill. If you got the message that Kaz sent out, what's the one essential skill you need to master to be happy, to be in flow in your life, and to awaken spiritually? So I'm going to talk about that, the 4 life-changing benefits of actually doing it, mastering the skill. I'll talk about 7 stress-busting techniques, which are very ancient, to help you to master this one essential skill. I'll talk about how you can integrate practicing these techniques into your daily life to experience all of the life-changing benefits consistently, and then we'll have some time for questions and answers at the end. So as I said, if you have any questions, make a note of them, and I'll probably get to them. I might cover them in the presentation, but we will have time at the end. And then for those who want to stay, this might take us beyond 2 hours, but there's a live meditation, which I'll do, about a 20-minute meditation on a 10-step letting go process, followed by a little discussion on it if you want to stay. That's optional. Okay, so your gifts for staying the course. If you stay for the whole session, I'll give you the written worksheet for this 10-step letting go process that I mentioned, which is a summary of something called the Course in Miracles, which I'll talk about more. Studied that for many years. So it's a powerful process that you can use anytime to help you to let go of particularly something that's difficult, that's sticky, that you just find it's difficult to let go of. Also a 1 hour recording to guide you through it, and a meditation and explain it if you stay until the very end of the masterclass. So that's your reward for staying until after the questions. The meditation is optional, but if you want to experience the 10-step letting go process, then I can highly recommend you stay. And it's a great way to prepare yourself for bed as well. So let me ask a rhetorical question, but I want you to just think about it briefly. So ask yourself why you're here today. Just pause, reflect on that for a few moments. And it's because you're looking for something. No one shows up to presentations like that if there's not a search going on. So you're looking for something, and that you may think that is relief from stress, anxiety, depression, and disease. That might be mental health issues, it might be physical disease, but it's all coming from this dis-ease in your mind. Better health, it's a very common reason for people searching for answers. More wealth, also a common reason. Better relationships. These are the primary things people are looking for more of. A better quality of life and lifestyle. All of these are maybe your reasons, maybe some, maybe all. But again, let me ask you another question. What are you really looking for? And just think about that for a few moments. What are you really looking for? So underneath all of this, what's the one thing you're looking for? And if you were to put a word to it, I call it happiness. There's many words for it. You could use peace, inner peace, happiness, flow is another word. I'll talk about that a bit later on. But happiness is a very commonly understood word. It's a sense of everything being okay. You're okay. The world's okay. You're not suffering. You're not unhappy. Yet happiness is quite elusive. So why haven't you found lasting happiness yet? It's the question. Okay, and ask yourself, why haven't I found lasting happiness? Why am I still seeking for it? And it's because you've been looking in the wrong place. And that's not really your fault. We've been conditioned to think that we'll be happy when we have better or more of something else. This is societal programs, what I call the ego's program. That somewhere out there's happiness, and you just need to go and find it. And that's how the world is set up, and that's how we brought up, that's how we conditioned. Our parents, our teachers, our whole society conditions us to look outside of ourselves for happiness. So we are bombarded with these kinds of images. Fit, healthy, sexy bodies, which of course very few people have, but these are the images that advertisers show us. So we need to live up to this standard, apparently, and of course very few people do, and so then they actually feel unhappy because by comparison I don't measure up. Of course, none of this will last. So when we're young, our body can look good and attractive and sexy and sleek and slim, and but as we age, the body starts to degrade, as you're probably aware. And we end up being old and needing to use things like walking sticks, taking pills, drugs to try and manage some of the conditions that seem to come on with old age. And so this illusion of that a fit, healthy body is going to make you happy is clearly not going to last, because you are going to age. You might be looking at things like cars, clothes, things money can buy for happiness. Many people do that. The advertisers market these things on identity. They don't market the car and they say, well, these are the features. They market it as a lifestyle choice. You know, BMW, sheer driving pleasure. You're going to get an experience. You're going to feel better about yourself. when you do this. So, but again, anything material has its downsides. So cars break down, cars get stolen, cars need insurance. And if you've ever bought a new car and felt a sort of temporary sense of happiness or just a kind of a satisfaction, you'll notice that it only lasts maybe a month, maybe 2 months, and then it just becomes normal. Even if it's an amazing car, you just take it for granted and it ceases to become a source of happiness. It's just part of your everyday life. So that doesn't seem to work. Maybe it's a home like this, amazing home, lifestyle, designer home. Wow, if I had that, I'd be really happy. But if you look at a lot of Hollywood celebrities who have homes like this, often they're not very happy at all. They make these tabloid magazines and newspapers because they're not happy, and the dramas are then shown to the world. Lady called Marisa Peer, I'll talk about just now, but she works with a lot of these clients, and she says most of them are not happy because they're looking outside of themselves still for happiness. They're looking for happiness in success, in status, in money, in houses, in relationships, and they're not actually happy in themselves. And then they've achieved everything the ego can give them, and so then they fall into a pattern of addiction or despair because there's nowhere to go with that thought system. Obviously, we know houses decay, houses can burn down, so it's not permanent. It's temporary. It can change at any moment. As we've seen over the last couple of years, our world just got turned upside down about 2 years ago with the COVID pandemic. And so suddenly we couldn't do things that we were used to. Travel, well, forget that. You can't travel. So if travel was your thing, then you would have been quite unhappy over the last couple of years because it was deprived of you. So a lot of these things that maybe we valued pre-COVID have now been shown to be false, and they're actually not really a source of sustainable happiness. That's what we're looking for, permanent, what I call authentic happiness, sustainable happiness. Maybe it's things like fine dining, nice experience with your special partner. There's nothing wrong with these experiences, but if it's the source of your happiness, then it's very fleeting. This experience might last 2-3 hours, and of course with COVID, we couldn't do it. We couldn't go to restaurants for a while. So again, all of this was taken away, and then it maybe made us aware, hopefully, that this wasn't really a source of authentic happiness. It was temporary and it was fleeting. And of course, we know what happens if relationships turn sour. We've all had breakups and relationship difficulties in our life. It can be, really distressing and really upsetting. So the flip side of, relying on that person for happiness is that it can also cause you great unhappiness. So let's look at where you'll never find authentic happiness. This is a lady called Laurie Santos. She's a psychologist. She started something called the Happiness Labs, a podcast. It's got a lot of views, especially during COVID. And she's just pointing out that the science really shows us that our minds don't point us in the right direction. So we long for fame, money, a beach body, a new car, all these things I've just shown you. We expect these things will make us happier, but the science shows us, research shows us that these expectations are just flat out wrong. She's not even saying they're somewhat wrong, they're completely wrong. So you may be looking to other things like psychotherapy as a source of happiness, and really it's just another form of external searching. Right? So often we're searching outside of ourselves for the answer. The answer's in the therapist. The answer's in something outside of me. And money is really the way that we express this in our society. So money is a form of external searching. As A Course in Miracles says, all mental illness is some form of external searching. And we have a society where we do this by default. It seems to be normal. We're all searching. We need to earn money to carry on the search to get the things we think we need for our happiness. And yet this profound teaching I'll talk about a little bit later, A Course in Miracles, which comes from Jesus, is saying that it's all of this is just mental illness. So therefore, we, by definition, we live in a mentally ill society where the illness has become the norm. And if you do something other than that, then you're seen as often mentally ill, strangely, and you get labeled as that when actually you're waking up from the collective illness that we're all in. So let's look. We've looked at what's not going to work, what's not going to bring you any kind of permanent happiness. So let's look briefly at what is the cause of unhappiness. So what's the cause of unhappiness? Well, this is Marisa Peer, who I mentioned, hypnotherapist. She's the UK's leading hypnotherapist. She's helped many celebrities, including people like Princess Diana when she was alive, Amy Winehouse, and many Hollywood celebrities. They come to her when all else fails. They deepen despair, addiction, and so on, and then they get referred to Marisa. And her comment on her experience was that really what they're looking for is something outside of them. They actually don't feel like they're good enough. That's the problem. Their fundamental problem is they don't feel like they're enough, and they're trying to prove that they're enough to the world by making more money, having multiple relationships, becoming more successful, and it never works. And then once they've tried that and it hasn't worked, there's nowhere else for them to go within that thought system. So then they fall into despair. So when you feel and believe you're not enough, you'll always want more. So this is the desire on which our society is based. There's always more, and someone, of course, is always willing to offer it to you, usually for a price. So we've set up a whole economy based on this desire. We think that we need something to make us happy, and we think that we need to earn money to acquire that to make us happy, and this keeps us on a treadmill of desire and really fear, that we fear our expectations won't be met. Whereas if we know and we believe that we're enough, then we don't need more, because I'm already enough. So all Marisa Peer does, she helps her clients to accept that they're enough. Sounds awfully simple. But if they accept this, they say affirmations, you get them saying affirmations, I'm enough, I know, I'm enough. It changes their mindset. And they stop this pattern of seeking outside of themselves, and they accept that they are enough as they are. And that gets them out of this pattern of continuously seeking and desiring, and never actually being fulfilled, which, by the way, is a fundamental Buddhist principle. So the second noble truth of Buddhism is that desire is the source of all suffering. So this is what the Buddha noticed. And connected to desire is stress. So if you desire something, if you expect something, you'll notice that stress is a result of that movement of your mind. Because all stress is just the perception of some form of external threat. And that threat may not be real. It's just in your own mind. So the threat is that my expectations won't be met. I have this desire, I'm really attached to it. Now I think it won't be met, so now I have stress or fear arising. Stress and fear are really synonymous. This is Deepak Chopra, by the way, said this. All stress is the perception of some form of external threat, even if it's just in my own mind, even if I'm perceiving that I need something and I think I might not have it, I might not get it, or I might not keep it. That creates stress in our minds, and that creates unhappiness. It creates a resistance to what is now. So this is what desire and fear do. They move us away from an acceptance that we are enough now, and they move us into a domain of illusion, which is not a happy state, and that's the cause of unhappiness. So we've looked at unhappiness. What's then the key to happiness? Again, let's look to A Course in Miracles. This is Jesus' teaching, and he's saying mental health is inner peace. So all mental illness is actually seeking outside of ourselves. Mental health is inner peace. It simply enables us to remain unshaken by anything outside of us. So by any lack of love from without. So if anyone's behaving badly towards you, you feel that there's some kind of unfairness, yet you can remain unshaken by all of this and capable through your own miracles. And I'll talk about what a miracle is as we go along, but it's really a shift in perception. So you shift your perception and you correct the external conditions which proceed from lack of love in others. So you can actually transform relationships and situations by holding to this inner state, remaining unshaken by any of the appearances of lack of love, which seem to be quite ubiquitous in this world. So this is some research that was done, 75 years and $20 million expended on the grant study, which was a famous study done in Harvard. It's been going for over 80 years now. They started in the 1940s, surveying a class of graduate students in Harvard, and they surveyed them regularly over the years of their life to find out, well, what's working for these men. I think they're all men. What's working for these men and what's not working. And they found that happiness is love. And then full stop, said the guy who led the study. Happiness is love, full stop. That was a simple conclusion they came. So when people felt love, usually from family, friends, and so on, when they felt love and towards others and they felt loved, then they found happiness, and nothing else really worked. So all of the achievements, and some quite high profile people in that, including John F. Kennedy, who was actually part of the study. So presidents of the United States, senators, successful business people, and so on. And all this research showed that actually it all came down to this one quality we call love. So it found that there were two pillars of happiness: love, and then secondly, not pushing love away. It kind of makes sense, because if love is the key to happiness, then don't push it away, don't block it, which is what we do in many ways. We block our awareness of love, and then we find we're not happy. So don't push it away, and then you'll be happy. Seems awfully simple, and yet still happiness is probably the most elusive thing, along with love, in today's world. And that's because happiness is not a goal in itself. It's not something you can go, right, I want to be happy, set a goal, and at point X I'll achieve goal and then I'll be happy. It just doesn't work that way. If you've tried that, then you'll probably know that it doesn't work, because our state of mind fluctuates, and it's actually not dependent on the externals. We can be achieving things on the level of form and not be very happy at all. As many people, A-type personalities, they'll do it for years and then eventually they'll just crash. They have a burnout because they just can't do it anymore. They were never happy. It never made them happy. So as this quote beautifully says, happiness is a butterfly, which when pursued is always just beyond your grasp, but if you will sit down quietly, may come and alight on you. And maybe you had a little taste of that when we started the session, just for that 10 minutes where you just sat quietly, you breathed, and you felt a sense of, you could call it happiness, peace. The words, again, don't really do the state justice, but something arising that was quite pleasant. Hopefully you experienced that. And so what this quote is saying is, if you just sit down quietly, that's known as contemplation, reflection, or meditation, then this may just come and alight on you. You don't need to seek it. In fact, if you pursue it, then it's not going to be there, because then you're in the desiring, you're in the expectancy and the desire. And as we just seen, when you expect and you desire, it makes you unhappy. And so by letting go of that and simply sitting quietly and allowing it to come, then it may come just like a butterfly and alight upon you. Which is why seeking happiness, the pursuit of happiness, doesn't work. And interestingly, the Declaration of Independence, which is the foundation of the United States of America, in that foundational document, they have, Thomas Jefferson wrote, and he said, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Not happiness, but the pursuit of happiness. And then look at how that society is unfolded. It's all about pursuing. We're looking, seeking. It's probably the most materialistic society on earth, looking outside of ourselves for happiness, because we're pursuing it, but not actually ever finding it. So I guess that was stated from the foundation of the whole country, that's what would happen. Okay, so question then is, how do you find happiness? So to know oneself, this is a quote from a guy called Csikszentmihalyi, who's a professor of psychology and author. He's the world's leading expert on this phenomenon of flow. Just passed away actually recently. So to know oneself is the first step towards making this idea of flow a part of one's entire life. But just as there is no free lunch in the material economy, nothing comes free in the psychic one. If one is not willing to invest psychic energy in the internal reality of consciousness and instead squanders it in chasing external rewards, one loses mastery of one's life and ends up becoming a puppet of circumstances. End quote. So what he's really saying is don't look outside of yourself. Exactly the same message as the Course in Miracles. All external searching is mental illness, because you squander your consciousness, as he puts it. You lose touch with your inner self, and you end up becoming a puppet or a victim of circumstances. So you are now at the mercy of the world. The world's not good, your life's not good, then you're not happy and you're not in flow. And so that's not a very powerful position to be in. The victim is not a powerful identity and state of mind to be in. That, if you're wondering where this came from, this is actually a scene from the movie The Matrix. That's the back of the lead character's head, Neo, and he's at a lady called the Oracle. If you've seen the movie, you'll know the scene quite well. And she's teaching him, she's giving him some pointers as to what he could and should do, but not telling him anything, saying, well, you have a choice. But she points to that sign and says, do you know what that means? And it means know thyself, temet nosce, know thyself in Latin, which is the ancient injuncture. Every great spiritual teaching and teacher has said the same thing, know yourself. Because when you come to know yourself, then you will find happiness. You will not find happiness seeking outside of yourself. So Csikszentmihalyi is just echoing what all the great spiritual teachers and teachings have said for millennia in a modern psychological format. Shows you that nothing's really ever new. So happiness often relies on just one character trait, which is self-discipline. So it's a discipline to do what? Self-discipline to do what, you might ask? Well, that's the question, isn't it? And so this is where we come to the point I tell you what the secret is. The one key essential skill, the one essential skill that you need to master is you need to learn to let go of any negative thought and then dash emotion. So I just hyphenate that because it's very difficult to distinguish between what's thought and what's emotion. So it's a movement of the mind. Thought leads to emotion, emotion leads to thought. Where does the one end and the other begin? Very difficult to tell. So it's a thought to emotion. It's an experience you're having internally as it arises. So as these negative thoughts and emotions arise, these blocks, right, the things that push love away, blocks to the awareness of love's presence, called in A Course in Miracles, then can you be aware of those and let them go? So you can allow yourself to experience authentic happiness is the first benefit of mastering this one essential skill. If you can really let go, then this is what I call authentic happiness. So not happiness dependent, it's dependent on anything external to you. It's happiness that comes from inside. Because happiness or unhappiness is always experienced in your own mind. That's the truth. Happiness is not an external condition. It's an inner state, isn't it? So it must be experienced in your own mind. So that premise is true. You can check that, verify it in your own experience. Secondly, only your own negative thoughts and feelings can make you unhappy. Now, you might dispute that. You might say, well, if someone does something I don't like, then it makes me unhappy. But is it really what they've done that makes you unhappy? Or is it your negative thoughts and feelings about what they've done that make you unhappy? And if you're honest, again, you'll see that it's your negative thoughts and feelings about what you think they've done that make you unhappy. So it's your perception of the situation that makes you unhappy, not what's actually happening. So those two premises are true. Because they're true, therefore, learning how to let go of your negative thoughts and emotions must be the key to your happiness. If those first two premises are true, then the third statement is true. So that's why it's the one essential skill. Because learning how to let go of these blocks to the awareness of happiness opens the mind to happiness. Now that seems completely obvious, but it's not obvious to our society. In fact, our society is very unhappy because people don't know how to let go of their negative thoughts and feelings. We've never been trained in the skill. You don't get taught this as a kid. Your parents don't teach it to your teachers at school, university. Have you ever heard of a course in letting go at university? No, they don't exist. So it's the one key thing, and yet it's not taught. It's not, people are not aware of it. It's not taught. And that's why I'm doing what I do, because I think people need to learn this. This is absolutely the key to your happiness, and I'm convinced it is. I haven't found any other better philosophy than this. Then you should learn it, because it's absolutely the key benefit. It's the key to your happiness, and it's one of the key benefits. Key benefit number one of mastering this art of letting go is authentic happiness that cannot be taken away from you. That's what I mean by authentic. No one can take it away from you. It's permanent. Only you can take it away from yourself through your own misthought and false thinking and feeling. So the second benefit is what I call fulfilling flow. So this is being able to let go of your negative thought emotions quickly. So if you can do that, then you open yourself to being calm, poised, and able to enjoy each moment. You simply drop the situation, you let it go, and then you open your way to open experience of flow. So in that calm, poised state where you're actually quite enjoying the moment, you can take positive, effective action to respond to any situation appropriately. You cannot take positive, effective action if you're in resistance. Whatever you're doing is coming from that resistance, whether that's fear, frustration, anger, and so on. And so the action is tainted with that emotion. And then it tends not to be a correct action, and it tends to create more of the same. So you might have had situations in your life where you've experienced this. You were in a negative state, you acted, and then you were just really out of flow, and it just wasn't feeling good. And actually it all went pear-shaped, and the situation really didn't work out well. So this is the opposite, saying, well, we'll start off, if you notice that you're in that unflowing state, and these negative thoughts and emotions are rising, then correct it. You correct it by letting the thoughts and emotions go, restore your mind to a state of calm, poise, and enjoyment even in the moment. You can actually even enjoy a difficult situation because it's a challenge, and you can rise to that challenge and you can perform. I'll give you an example. So I was actually driving down to KZN one time, down to Durban from Joburg, and about 10 o'clock at night, 10 at night, something like that. Suddenly I have a blowout, puncture, and have to pull off to the side of the road. It's on the N3, and it's quite dark, it's windy, I'm in the middle of nowhere, there's not a garage close. So my immediate reaction was resistance. It's like, why is this happening? I've got to get to Durban. I've still got a couple of hours to go. I'm going to be late. My sister I was going to visit is going to be upset. All of this for a minute or two arose, like lots of resistance. And then I just managed to let it go. I was like, okay, well, just drop the resistance, let go of the negativity that's blocking you, and just get into the moment and do what you need to do. And that was to change the tire. I had a spare wheel, unpack the boots, jack up the car, and I just got into the moment. I did it in 20 minutes, got on the road again in less than half an hour. And actually, I quite enjoyed the experience in hindsight. I was like, actually, that was quite good, because I really overcame kind of the negative block, and I showed myself that I could do it. And I never changed the tire on my own before. I'd been with other people previously, so did it on my own. So actually, it was a very positive and, in hindsight, quite an enjoyable experience. But in the moment, I was just able to take positive, effective action to respond to the situation appropriately, because I was able to let go in that situation. If I hadn't, well, I might still be stuck on the side of the road, which certainly would have taken me a lot longer, because I just would have resisted. This shouldn't be happening. oh, I don't want to change the tire. So it would have blocked me from taking effective action. So that's key benefit number 2. If you can let go, you can actually find a sense of flow in your life, and that can be very fulfilling, even in difficult situations. So I just want to look briefly a little bit more at what is this phenomenon of flow about. So again, let's turn to the world's leading expert, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, who's written many books on it, and this is the best quote I found from him on it. So when we act freely for the sake of the action itself, rather than for ulterior motives, and only then do we learn to become more than what we were. So there's a couple of things in there. When we act freely, just for the sake of the action, it's not about any agenda, any ulterior motive. It's not about the end goal. It's about the action itself. You see, I think that's a father and his daughter, they're playing, and there's no agenda there. It's just playing for the sake of playing because it feels good in the moment. And then we learn to become more than what we thought we were. So we thought we were limited, we thought we were unhappy, we thought we couldn't find flow, and yet we can if we simply let go and we allow this flow to happen. Anyone can experience this. So it's a common human experience. We've all had an experience of flow at some point in our lives, but it's to be in the state continuously or consistently. That's really the key, and that takes mind management. You've got to manage your mind. You've got to manage your thoughts and emotions to create this state of flow. The key to higher purpose and ecstatic well-being is another one. So authentic happiness, it starts there. That leads to flow in every aspect of your life. So that's step 1, key benefit 1, authentic happiness, flow. And then what comes from flow and happiness is a healthy, meaningful, what I call an extraordinary, ordinary life, filled with miraculous experiences and results. So if you're happy and in flow most of the time, then your mind and your body will be healthy. It's just a consequence of happiness and flow. You will find that your life is meaningful because you're happy and in flow most of the time. So that's meaningful in and of itself. It's not about what happens externally. You don't need something to happen for you to be fulfilled. It's happening moment by moment. And this is quite extraordinary. You're living in an extraordinary, ordinary way because it's not common to find happiness and flow in your daily life, in the simplest things of life, is not a common state of mind. So you don't need to necessarily change the circumstances of your life. That may or may not happen. You just do your life, but you do it in a different way. Your state of mind has changed. Your perception has changed of everything. And so then happiness and flow can arise naturally and spontaneously. And that's the miracle. Miracle is simply a shift in perception. You shift from a negative state to a positive state, and then you have these miraculous experiences. I'm feeling happy, I'm feeling in flow, and if I'm in that state, then the results that I can experience are generally much better. So that state of mind creates a different words, different actions, different results. But it's inside out. I'm not trying to do it outside in. Oh, well, I need the result in order to be happy. I'm doing it. No, I'm happy first, foundation. Then I'm in flow. Then that flows into the results. So it's inside out manifestation rather than outside in. So those are key benefits 3 and 4. In there, you've got higher purpose. I think you'll agree, if you are healthy, you have a meaningful life, you live in an extraordinary, ordinary way, your life's filled with miraculous experiences and results, then you're on purpose. There's your purpose right there, just to live like that. And ecstatic well-being can be yours. You can have moments really where you feel just so well, so good, so happy, so peaceful, and you can have these moments throughout the day. It may not be consistently there all the time, but you can have moments of ecstatic well-being, and I do experience them. So I'm speaking from personal experience, where it's just like, wow, amazing, just feeling so happy, so good, and that can happen multiple times a day. You can have these moments. You can stay in an underlying base state that is happy and in flow, and then the ecstatic well-being is like the cherry on the top. So let's summarize all of this. 4 keys to an extraordinary, ordinary life. First of all, benefit number 1, the key to authentic happiness, is how to let go of any negative thoughts or emotions, no matter how challenging the situation provoking them seems to be. Okay, notice the language. No matter how challenging, doesn't matter what the situation is, you can always choose to let go. So we're talking, major disasters, death, which happens all the time to people, financial ruin. It doesn't matter. You can still let it go. You can still choose to let it go. So if you can do this, you can be bulletproof. It doesn't matter what happens in your life. You can choose to let go of the negativity and choose to be happy anyway. And at the highest level, that's a skill. Jesus did it with the crucifixion. I'm still in my true awareness, and I'm not too bothered by any of this. I'm not unhappy because of it. That's mastery at the highest level. So that's actually what he was demonstrating there. But we can do it in our own lives in much less trying circumstances. You're not being crucified. You may think you are, but actually someone just said something nasty to you. Okay, well, that's not on the same level of difficulty as he had to face. So benefit number 2, flowing from authentic happiness, that leads naturally into this state of flow, fulfilling flow, which is remaining poised. So how do you remain poised and enjoy the moment while taking positive, effective action to respond to any situation appropriately? So if you can remain poised, you can enjoy the moment, even if it's a challenging moment, like I shared, then you can take positive, effective action, and you can actually be highly effective in this world. So this makes you into a very, very effective person who's capable of doing things that maybe other people aren't, and getting results that are extraordinary, which leads into benefits 3 and 4, the key to higher purpose and ecstatic well-being. So if you're happy and in flow in every aspect of your life, and you live a healthy, meaningful, extraordinary, ordinary life, filled with miraculous experiences and results, then pretty difficult to argue that you're not living to some kind of higher purpose. Your purpose is in the experience of the health and the meaning and these extraordinary, miraculous experiences. And ecstatic well-being. You're feeling really well, you're healthy, your immune system's strong, and all of this constitutes what I call success. So can you see why letting go is the critical skill? And letting go, which leads to authentic happiness, which leads to fulfilling flow, which leads to a sense of fulfillment naturally, higher purpose and ecstatic well-being. And if you cut that out, no letting go, then no authentic happiness, no fulfilling flow, no fulfillment, higher purpose, and ecstatic well-being. It all stops. And letting go is the catalyst for all of it. Without that, you block your awareness of happiness. Without happiness, you can't be in flow. Without flow, there's no fulfillment, there's no sense of higher purpose, there's no ecstatic well-being, and you resort to the stressing, straining, and striving program of the ego to try and achieve some kind of happiness, which never works. In the end, that's not sustainable. Even if you get a temporary goal that's achieved, it gives you temporary satisfaction only, and then you go back into the same pattern of desiring, seeking, striving, and eventually this becomes very tiring, and you burn out. So you might ask yourself, how can I learn to let go and find my flow? Okay, so I've talked about some general principles. Hopefully some of that's resonated with you, but let's make it practical and specific to your life. How can I learn this, to let go and find my flow in life? So learning new information is often a necessary, but not a sufficient step for a true transformation of mind to happen. So there's 2 ways for this transformation, a true transformation to happen. First way, I call the way of the cross. That's through intense pain and suffering. You're forced to go within and break through suddenly to a new level of understanding and wisdom. I'll give you an example. Eckhart Tolle, you might be familiar with him and some of his teachings. If you've read The Power of Now and you read the introduction to it, he describes an experience where at the age of 29, he got to a point where he just really couldn't stand his life anymore. And he was like, I can't live with myself anymore. This is what he was thinking. And then he realized that there's actually 2 selves. And there must be a true I and there must be a false self that he couldn't live with. And that kind of split his mind open. He describes it as some kind of experience where he got sucked into a vortex of energy. It was such an intense experience, he passed out. Fortunately, he was lying in bed, so he just went to sleep. And he woke up the next morning and he has a major awakening. He's just seeing the world completely differently, seeing the beauty and the innocence and everything, whereas previously he was very heavy and dark and quite depressed. So, but it took 29 years of suffering to get there. So that's what I call the way of the cross. And that may or may not happen. You could suffer and suffer and suffer, and sometimes people just don't wake up that way. It's quite unusual for something like that to happen. The second way is a much better way, in my opinion. It's the way of mastery, I call it, which is through conscious, disciplined practice of spiritual ideas and techniques. You systematically grow in understanding and wisdom. So it's a way of mastery. You're learning progressively. You're learning skills. You're learning new ideas. You're learning techniques. And like anything, these can be learned, and they can be practiced, and they can be mastered. That's why it's called spiritual practice. So just like any other skill, you practice it and you get better at it. And that makes a whole lot more sense than just waiting for life to hit you over the head with a baseball bat and hoping you wake up. So let's look at the second way. The principles of transformation through mastery are, first of all, understanding and realization through your personal experience. So it must be personal. No one can tell you this. It's through your own personal experience of these principles and these practices that you start to awaken. It requires your active willingness and your disciplined effort. So nothing comes for nothing. There's no free lunch. In the psychic world, just as there's no free lunch in the economic world, as Csikszentmihalyi said. So it requires willingness and it requires effort. You've got to put in some time and effort into this. Otherwise, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to change. Doing what I call key spiritual practices regularly is essential, because these practices are how you get the experience. In the practice, you get a personal experience and you learn through that experience. So that's why in most spiritual traditions, they have these key spiritual practices, whether it's meditation, breath work. I'll talk about the various forms and what I recommend doing. There's 7 key spiritual practices I recommend that you incorporate into your daily life. So this transformation through mastery can also be greatly facilitated by another person or a group who help to raise I use transformational language here, initiates consciousness. So if you start on a path of conscious, disciplined spiritual practice, you're what's called an initiate in alchemical terms, an alchemical path. You're an initiate, and then this energy gets transmitted to you by the teacher, the facilitator, and the group. So there's a positive energy transmission, and there's also a sense of being held accountable. So if I'm not doing it on my own, I'm part of a group, there's a facilitator or teacher, then I feel a sense of accountability. There's other people who are around me who are going to notice if I'm not doing the work, if I'm not showing up, if I'm not doing my homework, and so on. So that holds you to account to a point, and that's very helpful in actually helping you to get the most out of the experience. And then finally, there's this immersion in the key spiritual practices that I mentioned, KSPs, and the positive field of consciousness that's created. And this can happen you don't have to be physically in a space. It's happening right now. There's a field of consciousness going on as we're just connecting via technology. So the beauty of it is it's field independent. You don't have to be in a room together for this field of consciousness to be created. And that really accelerates your learning, because there is Rupert Sheldrake calls a morphic field, a quantum field. We're all in it. And if you're immersed in it, then you feel it. So you might say, oh, right, I'm really getting good vibes from this place. Good vibes mean you're feeling good. There's positive energy. Bad vibes, it's like, well, actually, no, I'm picking up negative energy. And we all know that feeling, being in an environment that's toxic and also an environment that feels quite good and supportive. So the idea is to create a supportive environment online that's going to support your learning and your transformation. So these are the 7 techniques that I promised to show you. These are the 7 ancient spiritual techniques, because they all have very ancient roots. So number 1 is breathwork techniques. So you've already took you through a basic breathwork technique to start the session. So you had a little taste of it. And so these breathwork techniques involve 3 aspects of this ancient teaching of yoga. So I know, Kaz, you're into yoga. So yoga is much more than just postures, much more than just working out in a room. It's a system of transformation. It's a system for awakening. Yoga means union, means the union of your mind with the divine mind, union of yourself with the higher self. And so there's an 8-limb system that's probably the most ancient transformational system on the planet that expresses this. And so asana is one way, so that's posture. So just sitting is an asana. Pranayama is breath control. It really means breath control. And pratyahara is withdrawal of the senses. So in the breath work, you do all of that. Posture, breath control, and withdrawing the senses. Often you close your eyes. So you go within and you just focus the attention on the breath, as we did. So that's number one. Then secondly, what I call multi-dimensional meditation. So this is meditation that incorporates a number of facets, a number of what shall we call mantras to help you. So you might be familiar with some techniques where you sit quietly, you watch your breath. That's a mantra. We just did 10 minutes of that. It might be saying a phrase. Transcendental meditation works like that. Say a phrase, and that's your mantra. So I've incorporated many different ways, many different mantras in a single meditation. So depending on what your orientation is, you might be more auditory, then something like sound is going to work. So then there's sound, the sound of your own voice, and I use binaural beats, which entrain your brainwaves into deeper, slower states. So binaural beats, sound, then there's vision, so visualization, color visualization is another one, touching, kinesthetic. So there's 3 primary modalities of the senses we work through: auditory, visual, and kinesthetic. And so this meditation caters for all of that. So there's a way, whatever your orientation is. If you're more kinesthetic, then you can focus in on the touching part of the meditation. If you're more auditory, you can listen and you can make the sounds. More visual, you can focus on the visual aspects, the visualization, colors, and so on. So that's why I say it's multidimensional. Also, it incorporates actually 5 different limbs of yoga. So you've got the asana, pranayama, and pratyahara, as well as dharana and dhyana. So dharana is focused concentration. Let's say you're just focusing on your breath and you put all your attention just on a narrow area of your breath. That's dharana. You're entering into a contemplative state. Your mind is quietening through that focus. And then dhyana, from the dharana, you can immerse yourself in a deeper state of consciousness where you're actually not focusing on anything in particular, but it's just awareness being aware of itself. A very deep kind of contemplative kind of meditation, which will tend to follow from the dharana. So that's part of it. You get to dhyana once you've done dharana. Meditation takes you through dharana into a state of dhyana when you're ready, and that might take years to get into deep meditation states. Can take practitioners many years of mind training to get there. So the third key spiritual practice that I recommend and I incorporated into the program I'm going to talk to you about is forgiveness or letting go. Okay, whichever word works for you. I prefer letting go because it's very descriptive of what actually happens. Forgiveness, again, people are like, well, what does that actually mean? Am I forgiving myself? Am I forgiving others? Letting go is very clear. I'm letting go of my own stuff. I can't let go for someone else. Only they can let go for themselves. But I can let go of my own negative thoughts and emotions. So I can just drop them. I can not think those thoughts. I can not feel those emotions. Then I've let it go. If I'm still thinking them and feeling them, then I haven't let it go. So it's very simple, very clear. And that's really what forgiveness means. True forgiveness is letting go of your own negative thoughts and emotions that you're experiencing about or towards someone or something. That's what it involves. So that involves the yama, niyama, and pratyahara. So yama is observances. Niyama is things that you're going to abstain from, or it's vice versa. I forget, but it's what you're gonna do and what you're not going to do as kind of practices to help you run your life. So let's say you're gonna eat clean food. You're not gonna eat bad quality foods. You're only going to eat vegetarian. That's an observance. That's a practice. You're going to avoid doing things like smoking and drinking because it's harming your body. Well, that's an abstention. So that's the opposite. And then pratyahara is again a withdrawal of the senses in there. So if you're letting go of anything, then there's a withdrawal of the senses. So for instance, if you're doing fasting, as an example, it's a letting go practice, and you are withdrawing your senses from the world, and trying to remove your mind into a space where you're not affected by whatever's disturbing your peace. And the fourth thing is group discussion sessions. So this is part of the niyama practices. And there's a subsection of niyama which is called svadhyaya, which is study. So you're studying, except you're doing it in a group. So we've just done, Elaine will testify to this, we just did about 5 hours of study and group discussion and some meditation to actually explore this and study A Course in Miracles. So we study a text, and I guide people through meditations. Then there's reading and listening to spiritual texts. So again, that's live or it's recorded. You can do that. And that's the same thing. It's niyama, svadhyaya. Fasting and abstinence. So that's really part of this yama and niyama. It's an observance, and it's an abstention from food for a certain length of time. But not just food. You might abstain from things that are harmful: drugs, alcohol, habits, swearing, not exercising enough, watching too much TV, whatever the negative habits of the ego are. Fasting and abstinence is a way out of that. And I would actually say pratyahara is part of that as well. I must update the presentation, because you're withdrawing the senses when you fast or you abstain. And then the seventh key spiritual practice is an end-of-day reflection. So this is contemplative, reflective. You ask yourself questions. You say, well, what did I learn today? And that involves asana, you sitting, pranayama, doing some breathing, pratyahara, withdrawing the senses, going within, closing the eyes, and dharana, which is focused concentration on these questions and really considering them quite deeply for a few minutes, so that you learn what you can from the day and that you don't repeat the same mistakes over and over again. And then the eighth limb of yoga is called samadhi, which translated means enlightenment. So that's when really you see everyone is the same. Everyone and everything is the same. You've connected with the source of everything, the source of life that underlies everything, and you see only that. And that's a state that people like Jesus and Buddha and other masters have attained, and it is possible. But it does require spiritual work and practice. How are you going to get there? Well, if you're going to follow the way of mastery, it's through this conscious, disciplined practice of key spiritual practices. And I recommend these seven. So enlightenment is not so much a practice as a state of mind, which then is the eighth limb, the ultimate attainment of it. It's like I'm just in that state, and I'm in that state all the time, and I don't vary from that. There's someone else popping in. Okay, so let me give you a quick overview of what I promised to share. So this is the Art of Letting Go program, which we've just embarked upon. We've done 6 weeks, finished a 6-week course, and today was the first part of the ongoing program, which is a 1-year program. So to facilitate a 1-year mind and life transformation process. It's based on the way of mastery. I've just explained what that is: yoga, principles of yoga, 8 limbs of yoga, and immersion learning. So you're going to immerse yourself into this field, and I'm just going to help you facilitate that process for you. Incorporates the 7 key spiritual practices, which I've mentioned, and the 7 limbs of yoga. It's all integrated into it. So it's all been designed. You just have to show up and practice it and do it. The key spiritual practices include live and recorded daily online meditations and discussion sessions, also transformational exercises, solo meditations and breath work, and also studying this book, profound book called A Course in Miracles. So it's all integrated into the program. Why have I gone back? So the goal is to help you to learn to let go of fearful, stressful thoughts and emotions whenever they arise, so you can start consistently experiencing and these are the key benefits, which I've been through. You might recognize these. So the key benefit of letting go, the one essential skill, was authentic happiness. So it's the Art of Letting Go program is about helping you to learn this one essential skill. So it's called the Art of Letting Go. And the first key benefit is authentic happiness. So you'll know how to let go of any negative thought or emotions, no matter how challenging the situation provoking them appears to be, and choose to be happy instead. It's as simple as that. Not saying it'll always be easy. You'll have resistance, but you will know how to do it, because that's what the course teaches you. So the program teaches you to do. So if you know how to do it, sooner or later you will do it. And the sooner you can do it, obviously the better, because it's your own happiness and flow and well-being and purpose that you're sabotaging. So that's key benefit number one. I just wanted to go into a little case study. So I've been doing this for a number of years. The first course I ran was about 3.5 years ago, 2018, September, October 2018. I ran a kind of pilot for I call it the Art of Letting Go course. And this chap called Phil, who was 80 then, did it. And his comment was he'd been studying this course, A Course in Miracles, for 27 years. So I was under a little bit of pressure because I hadn't been doing it for...
I don't know what she answered.
I hadn't been
answered
doing
on call, but I don't know what happened after that.
Sorry, okay, I'm just going to mute.
It'll go off itself.
Okay, there we go. Just mute everyone. Sorry about that. Yeah, I was under a little bit of pressure there because he'd been doing this for about double the length of time I'd been doing it. But it was one of the best compliments I'd ever received. I've learned more about this profound teaching of A Course in Miracles in the last 6 weeks than in the last 27 years of studying it. Okay, let's mute everyone. So I'm just going to talk a little bit more about A Course in Miracles, so you know what I'm talking about. So it's a book, as you can see, quite a big, thick blue book, which has about 1,300 pages in it. It has a text of about 670 pages, explaining in detail the principles and philosophy on which the course is based. It has a 488-page workbook, which is made up of 365 daily lessons, designed to systematically train your mind how to let go of its negativity, allowing you to live in a miraculous state of mind. So this 488-page workbook is where the rubber meets the road. It's where you learn to apply the theory and the text to your daily life. And some very helpful practical exercises, which the course guides you through, and I've just done meditations and little what I call breath breaks on them to help you to practice it. And then there's a manual for teachers, which is additional guidance and clarification of terms in 92 pages. So we do the text and the workbook are the major parts of it. And then there's also some supplements, which we'll cover as well. So what is it, you might be asking? So where did this book come from? So it was transmitted by Jesus. He identified himself as such very early on to an American professor of psychology who was living in New York City, named Helen Schuckman, between 1965 and 1972. So she was Jewish by birth, but she was atheist. She didn't really believe in God. She was highly academic, very intellectual. You can imagine a setting like that. So I can just ask everyone, please keep yourself on mute, okay? So you don't disturb everyone else. I'm going to mute you, but don't unmute yourself if you're talking. So it's a systematic. What is it really? Well, let me just tell the story of how it came about, because it's quite an interesting story. So in 1965, she and her boss of this, she was part of a department. It was part of Columbia University. It's called the College of Physicians and Surgeons in New York, part of Columbia University. And there was a lot of conflict in that department. A lot of egos involved. People were continuously fighting. She had a lot of conflict with Bill, her boss. So one day they're driving to this disciplinary hearing through New York, and he turned to her and he said, I'm just tired of this. I'm tired of all the fighting and the conflict and the backstabbing, and there must be a better way. He was asking for a better way. And she agreed with him. She said, yes, I agree, and I don't know what that way is, but I'll help you find it. So in that moment, there was a meeting of minds in a common purpose that transcended their egos. It wasn't about their personal interests. It was about finding a better way for both of them and for everyone, for the whole department. And so there was a meeting of minds, what we call a joining, the Holy Spirit, as the Course calls it, which is just this awareness of oneness. And very soon afterwards, Helen started having quite vivid dreams. She saw herself as a priestess in white robes. She described these dreams to Bill. He was like, okay, well, they're in the psychological world. They knew about dreams. So he tried to help her through it. And then she started getting kind of psychic intuitions. They went to a clinic, and she'd seen the clinic before. She'd seen a picture of a church, but it wasn't anywhere to be found. And then they found, that actually this clinic had been built on the foundations of an old church, which looked exactly like it looked in her dream. So she was just looking beyond time. She was looking 200 years ago. So she had various of these kinds of mystical experiences, psychic experiences, you could call them. And then a few months later, in October of that year, suddenly this voice starts speaking to her. Starts saying, well, this is the Course in Miracles. Please take notes. And she's pretty freaked out by it. She doesn't know. So she then calls her friend Bill, and he says, well, why don't you just take notes, do what it says, and bring them in tomorrow. Bring them into work tomorrow, and we'll take a look. So that's what she does. I mean, this profound voice starts dictating some profound stuff to her, and she takes it in, and Bill's like, well, this is good stuff, Helen, and no disrespect, but this isn't from you. She says, yeah, I know it's not from me. That's what's freaking me out. Well, where's it coming from? So this is how this process started. She was basically a scribe. Jesus would speak to her, and she would scribe it. She'd write it out in longhand. She'd then take it in the next day. She'd get it. She'd read it, and Bill would type it up, and this is how A Course in Miracles came about. They typed up a manuscript. They then, through quite a miraculous process, found a publisher. It was published in 3 volumes as the text workbook and manual for teachers in 1976, without copyright. So it's actually freely available. Anyone can use this. Anyone can get it online, which is great. So what is it? Well, it's a systematic mind training course to teach you a radically different way of thinking about and perceiving everything from a non-dual perspective. So it's designed to teach you how to forgive or to let go of every false and therefore negative belief, thought, and emotion that causes you and other people to suffer. That's the intention of it. To change your perception so you see everything different. A non-dual perspective means that you're seeing everything from the perspective of oneness, of love, if you want to put it in another way, in a world where there's seemingly duality and seemingly something else going on. So it's how to let go of your false beliefs, thoughts, and emotions that deny love, that block the awareness of love. If you remember one of the keys to happiness identified in the Grant study was don't block it, don't avoid love. Well, this is why you need to learn to let go of these blocks. So that's what the Course teaches you to do. And it's a spiritual path that will allow you to live happily, peacefully, and lovingly. And all of that combined, I call miraculously. The Course would call it miraculously, or I call it flow. If you're happy, peaceful, and loving, and you're able to operate in that state, you're in a state of flow. There's no resistance. Life is kind of easy. It flows smoothly forward. And ultimately, this is set at the highest level of what's called a perennial philosophy. All the great spiritual teachings are saying the same thing. There is another world. There's another reality. There's another dimension. Call it whatever you want. And this world is not it. This world is not the ultimate reality. This, in fact, is a fake world. It's an illusory world which we've got trapped in. And all the true spiritual teachings and teachers are pointing us out of this world. So that's the tradition the Course comes in. It's the perennial philosophy pointing you out of this world, but it's helping you to be happy, peaceful, and loving, and live actually quite an amazing life while you're here, while you seem to be here, while you think you're here. And that's what any spiritual path should do. It should make your life happier, more peaceful, more loving, just a better experience of life while you live it out, and ultimately prepare you for what lies beyond this, which we can call heaven, nirvana, the ground of being, the void. There's many terms for it. There's something beyond this world, beyond the world of form. So let's talk about some well-known students and teachers of the Course. So you may be familiar with this lady called Marianne Williamson. She's probably one of the best known teachers of A Course in Miracles. She wrote a book called The Return to Love, which was a bestseller, and that was about her reflections on A Course in Miracles. Nelson Mandela came out of prison in 1990, and he quoted from it in his first inaugural speech when he first came out of prison. Our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. He said, our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, which most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You're a child of God. Your playing small doesn't serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We're all meant to shine as children do. We're born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. And it's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Amazing quote, one of my favorite quotes. I recite it to myself every day, so I know it off by heart. And Nelson quoted it. So he was influenced by Marianne Williamson's teachings, no doubt, and she based her teachings on A Course in Miracles. So he was indirectly, I don't think he ever directly studied A Course in Miracles, but he was indirectly influenced. There's, you probably recognize her, Oprah Winfrey. She's a professed student of A Course in Miracles. Deepak Chopra also. So these are some big names in the spiritual world. Wayne Dyer, in his latter years, really got into the Course. Was quoting from it. If you watched a movie called The Shift, he quoted from A Course in Miracles in that movie. Eckhart Tolle has quoted a number of times. I've watched videos from him where he's got the Course in his hand. He's quoting from it as a reference. And then there's myself. Not that I'm anywhere near as famous as these people, and probably never will be, but I thought it was a good opportunity just to introduce myself, because I am a teacher and a student of the Course. So who am I really is the question. I'm not going to answer that ultimately because it's impossible to answer, but just on the level of form, a little bit about my journey. I started off as a professional squash player after university. I decided that I wanted to fulfill my childhood dream. I wanted to play professional squash. I wanted to be a world champion. So I let go. It was probably my first major letting go experience. I let go of a career path. I'd done 4 years. I'd qualified. I had an honors degree, business science, finance, majoring in finance and accounts from the University of Cape Town. But I let it go. I just like this isn't my path. I want to follow my heart. I want to play professional squash. So I went and I did that for a number of years. It took me to sort of my late 20s when I had another major letting go experience. I had to realize that this goal, this lifelong goal that I'd really dedicated my life to since I was a teenager, was not going to happen. And so I had to let go of the goal and the dream, the identity I'd created out of it, that I was going to be a champion. I realized this wasn't going to happen. I was good, but I wasn't a champion. So probably my second major letting go experience was in my late 20s, and that just kind of opened me up to something else. I'd also started to meditate to improve my squash. I'd started breathing through my nose. So I was really doing spiritual practices, even though I didn't realize it. to help me to improve my squash. And so it started opening me up. I really found myself starting to just be more curious. Go, okay, so what's life really all about? And when I had this letting go experience where I had to let go of really a lifelong goal, it kind of opened up a space in my mind. I found it quite difficult, but I also found a sense of relief. I wasn't continuously striving, continuously desiring, well, when I get there, when I'm a champion, then I'll be happy. That was kind of the program I'd been living for years. Suddenly I was like, well, that's no longer there. So it opened up a space in my mind, and I found actually quite a lot of peace in that space. And I found that I could play my sport, squash, and I could still play it quite well. I hadn't lost my skills. In fact, I played better because I didn't have all of that fear and desire going on. So I was more relaxed, and I didn't really have an outcome. I wasn't like, oh, well, I want to achieve this. I just played because I enjoyed playing it, and actually I played better. So it was really very illustrative of these principles of flow. I was learning all these principles in my late 20s and early 30s when I didn't really understand them. I didn't understand the bigger context at that point. It's taken me, the last 20 years to really understand and put it all together in a framework. But I was certainly learning a lot. And so I started reading books like I mentioned Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East, the Urantia book, Neil Donald Walsh's books, the God series, Conversation with God series, and many others. And so I'd shifted from reading kind of motivational books where it's like, well, what can you do? What can you achieve? To like more, who are you? And like, what is life really about? And I really found they spoke to me. And I started gravitating more and more towards that. I remember having some conflict in my mind because it was like, well, on the one hand, I've done goal setting my whole life, and Eckhart Tolle's saying, well, just let it go. Don't goal set. Just be in the now. A goal takes you out of the now. So how does that work? So there's quite a lot of conflict and different thought systems. But in the end, this one was speaking to me, so I gravitated towards it, and I started reading more of these books. I do things properly, so I really, I read a lot, practiced a lot. I was doing meditation every day, and I started just feeling a call to share it. So I started sort of 2004, 2005. Started teaching this in workshops. Ran some workshops in Joburg mostly, but some in KZN, Durban, down in Cape Town. I ran retreats in places like that's in Ponta Dora in Mozambique, where we did fun things like swimming with dolphins. So I was teaching all of this stuff. I got into A Course in Miracles, and I incorporated that into my teaching. And for many years, I found it very exciting, interesting, fulfilling, and that took me to around 2012 or so, when I had this call to do something else. I was like, okay, so where am I going to go from here? I'm running these courses, and it's I really enjoy them, but I'm not really building any foundation here. It's just like running a course and then running another one, and haven't really got a community going. So I had an offer to go over to the UK to help a friend to build a business in London. I was based in Africa, but they were raising money there. And he said, I'd never done this, but he said, well, come help me raise some capital. You know how to do presentations, and you know how to get bums on seats, because I'd been doing that for years. So I was like, okay, well, I'm open to it. I don't exactly know what's possible, but the flow is saying go. So I went, and that changed my life. I met my then fiancée, now she's my wife. That's Oxford Street in London, I believe, in Christmas time. I moved over to the UK, so I radically changed my life. Again, major letting go experience. I let go of my business here. My social network, family here. Went to the UK, started a new life with my wife. We had a son very quickly, and so I changed careers. I started doing more finance work because I had a background in finance. I changed careers. I got married, had a son, and moved countries all in the space of a year or two. Pretty much happened over a year, and I found that radical change was really quite difficult to deal with. So it was a major undoing process that I'm very grateful I went through it, although it was extremely hard at the time. It was like a dark night of the soul. but I managed to get through it, through these principles, these teachings, Course in Miracles, and really just applying, saying, oh, I've got to just learn this, got to apply it in this situation, which is, the biggest challenge I've ever faced. And I did, and slowly but surely started to shift. I think I'm in corporate mode a few years ago. I decided about 4 years ago that what I was doing wasn't really working. I wanted to get back into teaching. So I was doing sort of part-time breath workshops in North Dorset in London, but I wasn't dedicating my life to it. I was just doing maybe 3 hours a week, and I really wanted to teach it. I love teaching. I love that's what I dedicated my life to for many years before. So I decided to start an online course. At that stage, I didn't know what it was going to be called, but called it the Art of Letting Go course. Ran a beta test for a few people in 2018. It worked quite well. I got good feedback, and then it's been a process over the last 3.5 years of really formulating it into something that's valuable for people, that's doable, that's workable, that's online, so I can be anywhere. I don't have to be in a specific location, and that's been my journey over the last 3 years of doing that. I'm currently trying to go back to the UK. I kind of got separated from visa reasons and also because of COVID. So I'm in the process of hopefully relocating to the UK fairly soon. But as I said, it doesn't matter because it's an online course, an online program. I continue to learn myself. So last year I went and I did a 10-day Vipassana retreat. Vipassana is a meditation technique, which I gave you a little taste of. That really what I showed you there was the foundation of Vipassana, just the breath watching. So I continue to learn and grow myself, and who knows what's next. So that's a little history of myself, so you get a little bit of background. That brings me full circle to where I started about 15 minutes ago, which is this testimony from Phil and the Course in Miracles. So he said that learning how to forgive or to let go, in my language, truly was one of his key benefits, and that he had a major breakthrough on the last day of the Art of Letting Go course after the holotropic breathing session, which I'll mention now. It's a particularly powerful breathing session, which we do as one of the transformational modalities. But this gave him a breakthrough. The next day, he had this breakthrough, and he, as he said, he felt compelled to write to me about it. And really, it was letting go of a huge amount of baggage from his childhood. For some reason, he decided that his parents weren't quite good enough for him. And even though his mother was really, very competent lady, she got straight A's at school. She got a bursary to go to university. She taught high school English. She did book reviews. She had a weekly column in the newspaper in the town where he lived in what was then Rhodesia, Bulawayo it was called. But he wanted her to be something else. God only knows what. And so in this replay, he was doing the breathing again, listening to the music from the session the night before. He had what he calls a catharsis. He broke down, much as I described someone else's, and sobbed his heart out. And in that long moment, he was able to forgive himself and also to ask his parents for their forgiveness. And he said, his words, I've been carrying this baggage around all my life at a huge cost. So in 6 weeks, he had a major shift, and he let go of something that had been with him for probably 70 years of his life, maybe longer. So a major breakthrough, which is really, it wasn't just the holotropic breathing, it was the whole process of all the different work and processes and live sessions and meditations we'd done. It was a culmination of that to help him to have a major cathartic experience, a major letting go experience. So someone else, a lady called Debbie Fox, who's based in Hillcrest, your part of the world, Sam. She said it helped me, this process, a 6-week course, to see my subconscious patterns that stop me from doing things in my life that are good for me, like yoga, meditation, etc. That revelation has been huge. Very grateful I did your course. It's given me a great deal to think about. Someone else said it makes forgiveness the letting go processes make forgiveness seem so simple. So that's key benefit number one, is really authentic happiness. You can find the key to it through this letting go. And key benefit number two is fulfilling flow in your daily life. So you will know how to remain poised and enjoy the moment. And I give you lots of tools to help you to do that on a daily basis. These little breath breaks, which just guide you through mind training lessons. In just a few minutes, you can listen for a few minutes and change your state. And that allows you to take positive, harmonious action to respond to any situation effectively. So my own experience, a little case study, playing squash. So I had exactly this experience, as Eckhart Tolle describes it: artistic creation, sports, dance, teaching, counseling, and mastery in any field of endeavor implies the thinking mind's either no longer involved at all, or at least is taking second place. Power and intelligence greater than you and yet one with you in essence takes over. There is no decision-making process anymore. Spontaneous right action happens, and, quote, you are not doing it. Mastery of life is the opposite of control. You become aligned with the greater consciousness. It acts, speaks, and does the works. So I had an experience on the squash court where I experienced exactly this state, exactly as he described it. So I was in a lot of fear before that, because I was very obsessed about winning. That stage was early in my professional career, and I was playing a guy I'd lost to previously in our club champs, and I was playing him in a league match. He was my opposite number. We had two sides in the same league, and I was freaking out the whole day, worrying, stressing about the result. But I managed just to somehow let go of that, let go of the outcome, and let go of any thought. Just I wasn't thinking, I wasn't planning my strategy, how I was going to play, what the outcome was going to be. And I managed to hold that state and go onto the court like that. And I played just the most phenomenal squash. It's quite amazing. I mean, the guy didn't have a chance. I think he got 4 points, and previously I'd lost to him 3-love. So it was a total turnaround, and it came because I was in the state of flow, and I really felt like I wasn't doing it. It just happened to me, through me, for me. I observed it. I was, a witness to the whole process. It was very enjoyable. It was flowing. It was lovely. I mean, amazing. I was in ecstasy. I was in bliss on the squash court. And it was a major breakthrough for me from that very kind of fearful, controlling state of mind that had plagued me certainly for the first part of my career. I was 6 months into my career. Fortunately, it wasn't that long, but certainly since I'd turned professional, it's just been like this obsession with the results, and I'm not getting the results quickly enough. And then I just managed to let that go, and I never went back. And I really experientially learned what this flow state was about, and life-changing experience. I may well not be doing what I'm doing now if I hadn't had that experience, because I got very curious about it and like, okay, so what is this actually? What was that experience? So that stimulated a lot of learning, a lot of research. And the third benefit, if you recall, was higher purpose. So it's exactly that benefit in the course. You'll start experiencing more happiness and flow in every aspect of your life, and you'll find higher purpose and meaning in all your daily activities. So you don't need something extraordinary to happen. Just you're happy and in flow in your normal daily life. You're working, you're cooking, you're eating, you're exercising, you're doing the various things we do, but you're in flow in all of it, in every aspect of your life. So an example of that, a guy called Vim, who did the first beta course I mentioned, he experienced about 2 weeks into it, he put this on the Facebook group. So I experienced this severe ego attack where he was playing tennis and he got really upset. He wanted to win, and he just got out of flow. And the whole experience was very, very painful for him, because he was trying to win and he was just playing worse and worse, and the result was terrible. If any of you ever played sport, individual sport particularly, and you've been out of flow, you know what this feels like. It's like you just want to crawl into a hole and bury yourself, because it's like, but there's nowhere to go. It's just you. There's no team to shelter you. So he shared this experience in the Facebook group, and he shared it in one of our live discussions, and was quite reflective about it. He said, the ego can come, and I lost my temper. So anger, as he says, was one of his issues. And then in one of the sessions, we discussed it. I mentioned this experience I'd had on the squash court of flow. I taught him the breathing exercise I taught you earlier. And to his credit, he took it on and he applied it. And so the next time he played, the next week, his experience was totally different. He centered himself, he breathed, he experienced peace, he played a lot better, and he beat the guy in 3 sets, 3-love. So a total turnaround in the result because it was a different state of mind. And when you're in a flow state, you perform much better, which is why in sport it's highly prized. If you can get into flow or in the zone, as they call it, it's the optimal state for high performance. So as he said, I was in flow, I really enjoyed it, and I was at peace. So it was a very enjoyable, peaceful experience for him. And he's a chaplain, so he referenced it to his experience of God. He said, I experienced God's pleasure in me that day. Right? It's coming through him. He's experiencing that pleasure. And he also learned a powerful lesson. If you remember, flow was all about becoming more than what you thought you were. That was Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi's definition of it. So he actually learned a powerful lesson about himself. He learned that he wasn't angry. He didn't need to choose anger. He could, and that just doesn't work. He just got a very bad result from that. And he could choose to be at peace instead. So all in all, a flowing, happy experience for him. And he learned a powerful lesson about himself, which is the 2 elements of flow. And then key benefit number 4 is ecstatic well-being. So you'll start experiencing more happiness and flow in every aspect of your life, and living an extraordinary, ordinary life that gives you and others miraculous experiences and results regularly. That's the promise. So you can actually have these moments of ecstatic well-being, as he described, in your daily life. And although it may not be all the time, generally you're happy and in flow. So the ecstatic well-being is the cherry on the top. That gives you these really quite extraordinary experiences. You can just go, wow, that's just amazing. And I feel so grateful and happy and joyful. And this is all flooding through in your awareness. And, it happens to me regularly. It's happened to people who've been on the course. So this is a lady called Hazel who did the second course I ran in 2019. So she did something called Exercise 9, Inspired Decision-Making Process, which Elaine, for your benefit, is now Exercise 10, so you know what it is. And she said, I experienced a feeling of expanding energy radiating from my heart center, which I've never experienced before. The energy felt like pure love, which was exhilarating to the point of me being wide awake all night. What a stunning experience, which will stay with me for the rest of my life. So if I keep you up all night and you're having a blissful experience, then hopefully you'll forgive me, because it can happen. No guarantees, but these kinds of processes do unlock this loving energy that is very blissful, and it can give you an ecstatic experience. And then we go to Robin. Robin did the first course I did. At the end of it, she said, yeah, she was totally satisfied with the course. She found it extremely helpful in helping her to let go of negative emotions, thoughts and emotions, find more happiness, flow, fulfillment, purpose in her daily life. And her key takeaway from it was, yes, I have peace, less anxiety, I sleep better, I don't take painkillers anymore for stress, headaches, really, and have better relationships with her children, not as frightened or worried. It's a pretty comprehensive life transformation. And Robin's still a part of the community. She's still doing A Course in Miracles, and it's changed her life. Since then, she's never looked back. She's never gone back into that old state of being very stressed and worried and feeling like she was a victim, and all the anxiety and the drugs for the headaches. That's all just dropped away, and she's living a much happier, more stress-free life, and being a happy mother to her and wife. So extraordinary, ordinary. She's not doing anything different, but her life has become much more functional, much happier. So what I'm going to do now, I normally share a video, but I'm going to skip this. I'm actually going to ask Elaine. Elaine, are you still there? Elaine is how you come all to be here. So I'm going to ask her to just share her experience. Is she still here? Or maybe she's not. No, okay. Elaine's dropped off, I think. Oh, no, there we go. She's still there. Elaine, you mind doing a little share for us? So
Mute, hey?
yeah, Elaine is kindly, she referred me to Kaz, and Kaz then put the word out, and that's how most of you are here. So thank you, Elaine and Kaz, for spreading the word. So yeah, Elaine, maybe just for a few minutes, speak to your experience of, you just finished the Art of Letting Go course last week, the 6-week program, which is really the start of this Art of Letting Go program. And maybe just talk about your experience briefly, if you don't mind.
I think I think what I really loved about the course was the flexibility. The fact that I could kind of like dip in a lot. Well, I could dip in whenever I just was not available every day for everything. And I was also feeling a lot of resistance, which I told you right in the beginning. So I just felt I could find my own pace and just, take whatever I could benefit from, and what I was feeling up to doing and practicing. And so, that was really nice. And I could take time away. I was away for about a week. And then again, on a retreat. But I kind of just dipped in. I listened to your recordings. I did the meditations every day, very valuable, because it was always a meditation on the lesson of the day. And then I could listen to parts of the discussions, and I just managed to kind of,
you found your own flow with it, really, didn't you?
Yeah, not lose the thread of it.
Yeah.
So just flexibility was, made it possible and doable for me. And the exercises were great. The practical exercises. That was where the transformation, when you really feel it, because you were, and it is. It takes effort and discipline to do it. But I found those exercises really powerful.
So just explain what your experience was, because people don't know. So you did the naming game. Did you find that helpful? Where you really identified your program?
You just get feedback from everybody and people you don't even know, and each person gives you 3 points, negative feedback about yourself. I mean, no, not necessarily. Just real feedback about yourself. I mean, they see in you, which is not serving you. And, and from that, you get this like very objective download of how people perceive you and a certain truth about you, and an opportunity to really look at it and see why is it that you're projecting this out into the world. And what do you call it? Change your game.
Yeah, well, it's identifying your flop. Your flop is your fundamental life operating program. That's your ego. And it's to identify that, because we're not aware of it. That's the whole problem. It's hidden. So it's the process to identify it, and then to help you to turn it around. You flip your flop, turn it around, and then you discover who am I really? What's my essence? We call it your essence identity, your true self, which you did. You did that. We did an amazing session where we turned it all around. I mean, it was profound. Where 4 people did it. So just speak to that. What was your experience of that, and then the values afterwards and the higher purpose.
Yeah, you just get to see things about yourself that you were not aware of, and it's the idea that your thoughts also are responsible for your perceptions, and not the other way around. And so it's just it's experiencing that through the course and understanding that, and there were other interesting exercises, the decision-making exercise as well, like big dilemma in my life, which I just worked through through this process and through this understanding that what drives our thoughts and what creates our illusions, and how to tap into your true self to get the answers that you need, like in a dilemma of a situation, which you carry for years, and yet you can apply it and say, okay, well, yeah, there's the answer for me, and it feels right, and you know why you've come to that conclusion. So that was very valuable.
And then your higher purpose. Speak about that. You said that was the most powerful thing for you.
And I came to formulate my purpose in like, to put it down very specifically and clearly and practically for myself. So the practice also, gives you a formula to do this. It's very practical. So it's really, really very valuable. And now just to be able to dip into the lessons when I can, and just practice, carry on practicing, strengthen my understanding, and just carry on doing the work, so that one can manifest one's purpose and
it's more like I don't think the term manifests the right term. It's more like allowing your purpose to, you're allowing yourself to be guided in your purpose. That's really that's really you're not the doer as much as just the allower. Okay, I'm going to allow this to come through, and this is the whole teaching. It's not I'm doing stuff. It's like I'm actually getting out the way. That's the whole problem. I'm in the way.
I do stuff, getting out of my own way.
Let me get out of my own way and allow this presence we call spirit, love, God, the divine, whatever you want to call it. We all know there's something there. Allow it to come through and guide me. And let me just get out the way, because I'm blocking it. That's the whole problem. So the idea of this is that it's almost like it's not a masterpiece you're painting. It's a sculpture. So they asked Michelangelo how he sculptured the David, probably the most famous sculpture in the world. And he simply said, well, all I did was I cut away what wasn't David. It's a very good answer, isn't it? He took his block of marble and he just chipped away, and he took away what wasn't the essence. And so it's the same process here. It's like take the block, take all the rough edges off, cut all that away. So it's a letting go, and then what reveals itself is the true self. And that was always there. You just had blocked it. So the whole teaching is, well, remove the blocks to the awareness of who you really are and of love's presence, and then you're free, and then your true self comes through. So you don't have to create that. You don't have to try and do that. You simply have to dedicate your time and energy to the art of letting go. You need to let go of the stuff that's blocking you still. And we all have that. And this program is really designed to help you to work systematically and progressively through whatever the blocks are. So, thanks for continuing on with the program, Elaine. And I look forward to the journey. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, thank you, John.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, just to summarize, key benefit number one, you'll be authentically happy, right? So you do the program in its entirety, and it's a 1-year program. You'll know at the end of it, you will know how to let go of any negative thoughts or emotions, no matter how challenging the situation provoking them appears to be, and choose to be happy instead, right? You might still find some resistance, but you will know how. Would you agree? And you know how to do this now.
Yeah, I know it gives you some very real tools. It's through the practice, really through the practice. And I must say, I really enjoy the meditations, and I actually got out of meditation for a long time, and I missed it, and it sort of got me practicing again with a thread of thought. So I must say I'm enjoying that.
Well, that's what it's about. These benefits are tangible, practical, real in your life. So you know how to remain poised and enjoy the moment while taking positive, harmonious action to respond to any situation effectively. It's like, okay, in the moment, there's a situation arising, but I can respond from my higher self. I can go there. I know how to do this. I can stay calm. I can stay poised. And it's actually quite enjoyable because you're being asked to go to a higher level, and you can step it up if you need to. So you've got that capacity. And then experiencing more happiness and flow in every aspect of your life. Just living a more meaningful and what I call extraordinary, ordinary life. So you don't change anything necessarily on the level of form. You're still doing what you're doing, but it has this extraordinary quality because happiness and flow is running through most of your experiences now. You're not stressing, straining, and striving anymore. It's just the happiness and the flow guiding you. And that gives you and others. So this plays to your higher purpose. It's not just about you, it's about spreading this to other people. These miraculous experiences, peace, love, joy, happiness, flow, these experiences and results are, what then make our lives extraordinary, ordinary, and what give us a sense of fulfillment and meaning in our lives. Because it's manifesting. It's not the experience as such, but it's the happiness and the flow that's then manifesting in these experiences. It's resulting in these experiences. So it's pretty comprehensive. This is a life transformation program, really, over 1 year. There's a 6-week course to start with, which I only run once a year because it's just too intense. I can't run.
The other thing I wanted to say, Jono, which have really attracted me to this course in the first place, because I didn't sit in on your intro program at all. But I just sort of dived in, and I straight away saw that every day you provided really interesting resources from other teachers, from other, teachers and teachings and many sources that were, just a lot of info which one could. It's not just about A Course in Miracles. It's about what a lot of people are saying, spiritual people, and just interesting teachers out there and healers out there that are saying things that are aligned with A Course in Miracles as well. So it was just a nice general education, which I'm still enjoying, and which is why I'm doing it. So I think that is an aspect as well that maybe you didn't mention.
It's a universal truth. This is universal and it's everywhere. And so I've designed the program around, well, this is everywhere and you can see it everywhere if you have eyes to see it. So we have a fundamental teaching based on A Course in Miracles, but this truth is everywhere and you can see it in many different teachers and teachings and paths. And then I just draw that in. So, okay, well, look there and you can see it there. Oh, you can see it there as well. Because it's a universal experience. And ultimately, this is where the course is leading, to a universal experience of truth. That's beyond any particular path, denomination. You just see it everywhere. One of the lessons is, the God is in everything I see because God is in my mind. Love is in everything I see because love is in my mind. It's everywhere. So I can't not see it. So it's training you systematically through all the mind training lessons to do this. So yeah, I'm gonna start wrapping it up now because it's been 2 hours. So thank you everyone for your patience. We'll finish in the next 10 minutes if you can bear with me. And then if you do want to stay for a meditation afterwards, you're most welcome to. But I'll wrap up the masterclass very soon. So this is the 1 year program. I've tried to summarize the value, and it's actually quite difficult to do because there's so much in it. But the value of the 6-week mastery course, which incorporates all of these elements, plus a whole lot of transformational exercises, and there's a course manual, and there's meditations you get, is 2656. I don't have time to go into and unpack that because otherwise we'd be another half an hour. So I'm just gonna, if you want to, and that's only happening next year. So I'd recommend, if you want to just dive into this, you dive into the 1 year program, and then closer to the time, like a couple of months before we start the course, then I'll do another presentation where I go into what's in the actual course. So there's also live online meditations. There's a lot of that, 144 hours in the year, apart from the 6 weeks. So we're doing 8 live sessions, and in each live session we do maybe 20 minutes to half an hour of meditation. So I valued that at £10. I valued the discussion sessions. So we just finished a discussion session this afternoon, which if you're paying for that, you'd probably pay £10 an hour. So I valued it, as such. There's recorded meditations, which Elaine said she really enjoyed. Breath breaks, so that's just like a mini, very short, like 3, 4, 5 minutes, which you can listen to, and practices the mind training. Helps you practice the mind training lesson, and recorded discussions as well. So when I do a live discussion, I record it, and I put it on the WhatsApp group. We have a WhatsApp group, so you can listen to it pretty much straight away. It comes down the line to you. I've recorded this on WhatsApp. So Kaz, I'll send this to you on WhatsApp, and you can send it on to, and I'll send it on to anyone whose WhatsApp I've got, who's attended, so that you can listen to it. And it's also online on YouTube. So I live stream stuff on YouTube. It's on WhatsApp. There's a Facebook group as well. People tend to use WhatsApp more and YouTube, but it's available with a whole lot of back material. Got access to that. So there's a couple of 100 hours easily of material in the Facebook group if what's happening daily is not enough for you. But I suspect it probably will be. I haven't had any.
You can't get through what you provide daily.
Yeah, I've never had someone say, no, there's not enough. I want more. So there's a content-rich email you get every day, which is, a mind training lesson, an inspirational quote. You've got links to recorded discussions. You've got links to the lesson of the day. You've got the breath break recordings. You've got meditations. There's a lot in it. You can use that as your kind of resource center for the day. And there's a daily schedule you get. So it's like, okay, well, ideally, this is how you structure your day. And you don't have to do all of it. I'm just giving suggestions. So the idea is to find your own flow with it, like you did, Elaine. Okay, so work it into your own life and lifestyle and program so that you can flow with the program and become.
And so that you don't stress.
Yeah.
So that you don't stress, because, when I saw all of this, oh my gosh, it's too much, and I started stressing.
Yeah,
so
most people
that
do.
was one of that's what I said up front, was that because I could feel I could do it at my own pace. You don't have to be up to date with everything 100%. You can just because there's a thread in it, so you can kind of just make it work for you. I found that for me, especially with all the time I took off, and certainly not being at what I was supposed to be at, just in the discussions and that. So that's definitely. I don't want to be studying anything that I need to stress.
Yeah.
Or working on anything in my life, you've got to be. Look, the commitment and the dedication and just a certain amount of discipline to do what really matters most, like the exercises.
Yeah.
That's why you're doing the course. But one doesn't need to stress over it.
Yeah, well, I do say that. I mean, to have a course in letting go and then saying you're going to create stress, stress in the process is not paradoxical and counterproductive. So it's about just helping you. I'm giving you the tools. I'm giving you the resources. It's all available, and you use it accordingly. It's up to you. Find a flow with it. You can join the live sessions every day if you wanted. You can join them twice a week. You can read the WhatsApp messages rather than emails if that works better for you. Although there's more content on the email. So Katie, for instance, who did the course, she's opted out of the WhatsApp group because she prefers emails. So I just want to get it on email. Okay, fine. It's all on the email. Then, yet I do send some extra WhatsApp messages in the evenings, but she chooses not to get those. So that's fine. So I'm giving you lots of tools, lots of resources. It's all available, and you use it as you want to, and especially in the ongoing program, that's very much the vibe of it. Join when you can, integrate it into your life, and use it like a spiritual gym membership. You go to gym. Okay, we don't go to gym every day. You might do gym or yoga. Kaz, I know you offer yoga class. You might do it once, twice, 3 times a week. So in the same way, you can drop in on this daily. There's something you can interact with daily. And you don't have to leave the comfort of your own home. You can do it remotely. If you've got a decent phone, you can join the program. If you've got a computer, even better. So there's a lot in it. As I've shown you the resources, I've shown you if I was charging for this individually, it would be valued at like 13,500 pounds. Multiplied by 20, you're looking at a program with 200, nearly 300,000 rand. But I'm not suggesting that you pay that, so don't freak out. I'm just going, okay, well, look, let's just take a huge chunk off that, because 13,500 pounds is not affordable for very many people. So I'll discount it right down to 13,000. Just take 13,000 pounds off the top of that. So it's a 500 pounds, which is 10,000 rand current exchange rates. So the offer is, pay 500 pounds. You can do that up. Pay 10,000 rand. I think everyone here is from South Africa. So 10,000 rand, or you pay. You can do it monthly. So you can pay 50 pounds or 1,000 rand per month with a 3-week free trial. So if you don't want to jump straight into this, it doesn't immediately go, yes, I want to do that, which is quite understandable because you don't know me, you haven't experienced it. So my offer is do a 3-week free trial. If you liked what you saw tonight, if this kind of resonated, you think, I'd like to give this a go, this could work for me, join on a 3-week free trial starting tomorrow, and you do 3 weeks. You get full access to the program. You get the emails, the WhatsApp messages, get access to all the live sessions on Zoom, all the resources. I'm very generous with the material. You can access it. You can download it. It's yours. I'm not keeping score and say, oh, will you owe me? If after 3 weeks you go, okay, this doesn't really work for me, can't see that I can fit this into my life, it's not sustainable, I didn't resonate for whatever reason, no hard feelings. You've tried it, you've given it a go. Maybe at a later stage you might come back to it. At the very least, it's going to given you 3 weeks of some different experiences that might sow some seeds for the future. And maybe if you like it, you do the 3 weeks, maybe it becomes a program that could really help you change your life, because that's what I've designed it to do. It's a life-changing program over 1 year. If you're really dedicated to this, you can absolutely transform your mindset. Your mindset is the basis of your life experience. So you change your mind, you change your life. And that is what it's done, as you've seen from some of the testimonials and from Elaine's. Elaine, maybe just your key takeaway. Would you say honestly that this has been life-changing for you?
No, it has been transformational. Yeah, It has, because it's yeah. So there just is something about it which is it's transformational. It definitely is. It really, to get your head around some of the thoughts of the day, I must say, is quite challenging.
It's a bit of a mind bender.
The more you do it, the more you get your head around it, and then you start to see a different reality.
And that,
you start to realize that the illusion you're living in, actually, and what you can do about it.
Which is to change your own perception of it.
Yeah.
So
you take full responsibility for your life, because it's the only way that you can do something about it, where you would like to be.
So another option is, if you didn't want to go for the full option, you can just do two live sessions a week, because that's enough for a lot of people. Some programs, they do 1 live session a week, or not even. It's all recorded. So I'm doing 8 sessions a week. You can dip into those as you want as a full member. But if you don't want to do that, 2 live sessions a week, and you get all the other material, recordings, emails, WhatsApp messages, and that's only 500 rand a month, or 5,000 for the whole year. Well, if you know the kinds of prices in this world, 5,000 rand is a weekend workshop, not even. I know workshops sort of 6-7 grand for just one workshop. This is for an entire year. So I've tried to make it as reasonable, as affordable as possible. And that's also, you get a 3-week free trial. So just to mention that the date of the next course, which is basically the start of the 1-year program, Sunday the 5th of February. So it's 11 months away to Sunday the 19th of March. But if you just do the program till then, jump in where we're at, and then you'll get to that next year, and then you'll do the program then. The beauty of this thought system is it's holographic, so it's one thought system. It's consistently through the whole year, so you'll learn it over the next year, and then you do the program, and you go, oh, okay, well maybe that just filled in some gaps, and it gave me the foundation of some of the practices and the exercises that I mentioned that you haven't done. But I give you access to all of it, so you could actually go and do some of those exercises in your own time. I give you the course manual, so you can start right now. Start Sunday, start tomorrow, really, because the program we just restarted the program, so it's quite a good time to start. You can jump into it, and you can just go with it for the next year. So in terms of the logistics, you get these live sessions, live online meditation and discussion sessions happening from Monday to Friday at 12:30, that's UK time, so 1:30 South African time. We're at 2:30 at the moment, but the clocks are going to change soon, so I keep it on UK time. As of the end of this month, it's going to be 1:30 p.m. South African time. And then Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, we do an evening session. It's going to start at 9:30. So you can choose. When afternoon works for you, great. Join. Evening works for you. If you can't join the live sessions, you get the recordings straight away on WhatsApp. They're also available on YouTube, so you can listen to recordings. The sessions last anywhere between 1 and 3 hours. Today's was longer, actually, but Sundays we tend to go a bit longer, to be fair. But in the week, normally 1 to 3 hours. But you can join for just part of them. So, for example, the 20-minute meditation. Okay, so I see Kaz has to go. So Kaz, let me know your thoughts. We kind of done. I'm just going to go through a couple of maybe obstacles. But if you'd like to join the program, then just message me and say, look, I'd like to do the 3-week free trial, and I just need your email address and mobile number for WhatsApp, and I'll add you to the list, and then you get in the communication, and you can join as and when over the next 3 weeks. So Kaz, if you'd like to do that, feel free, and that offer's open to everyone.
Kaz is so busy. Kaz, can you see?
Yeah, it sounded like she may not, but Kaz, you could listen to recordings. You don't have to do this live. You can actually listen to recording. So while you're driving, doing whatever downtime, you can listen. And then the little breath breaks, they're only a few minutes. So if you can just take a few minutes to just center yourself, you might find a very valuable practice in all of the the running around and busyness. Like, okay, just take a few minutes, center myself, calm, and you just repeatedly access that state, which then is the flow state. Now you're back in flow, and you can go on with your life. So the idea of the 3 weeks is try it out and see if this works for you. See if you can fit it into whatever your life happens to be. If it works, fantastic, great. If it doesn't work, really no hard feelings. I got no attachment to or investment in anyone doing the program or not doing the program. I offer it, and if it works and there's a fit and there's a resonance, then great. And if there's not, then hopefully you learned something, and who knows, maybe in time you'll come back, you'll remember this, and you'll go, okay, well maybe I'll come back to the program, or at least remember some of the principles you learned.
The one thing I did consistently was the meditations, and I think that was the thread for me that held it together for me. So because there were some days where I just didn't have the time as well. So, but I always did that because I enjoy waking up in the morning and doing a meditation. I enjoy doing that. So since I was on the course, I did the meditations, and it, it made me aware of the lesson of the day, and it was. The meditations were just always very, very pleasant and beneficial. So, and then if I did attend the discussion and the lesson, I obviously understood a lot more and had more substance and depth. Meditation.
Did you listen to the letting go meditation, the 1 hour one in the morning?
I have done that, yeah.
And then you listen to
I did in the beginning. I did actually quite a lot. You've just reminded me. It was good to see one can forget as well some of the resources. Yeah.
Well, it's there every day in each email, so it's all there for you. And then I send out unique emails, unique little breath breaks. So anything from 5 to 15 minutes on the lesson for the day, which you can listen to. And it's
a shorter one and a longer one.
Yeah. So, if you can't do the longer one, do the shorter one. It's a few minutes. If you can't make a few minutes for spiritual practice, when are you going to make time? It's like at some point you've got to take a bit of time out and do it. So, I'll try to make it as flexible. There's a lot of material and you can use what works for you and fits it into your routine. And you can do things like, cut down on TV. So instead of watching TV, you join a discussion session and you use your time in the evening more productively. You can integrate other key spiritual practices into your daily routine to make you more effective and productive. So take the breath breaks when you need a break from work. It's a good idea to take a break every hour for a couple of minutes, maybe 5 minutes every hour to an hour and a half. And you can listen to the discussion sessions while you're doing other activities, such as driving. You've got to commute to work. You drive for half an hour. Instead of putting the radio on or listening to music, you can listen to the recording for the previous day, because I'm sending you all the recordings via WhatsApp, so you can listen to those. Eating, cooking, walking, just depending. You can be playing it, and it's really not difficult to listen in the background. If you can listen to the radio, then you can listen to this. So just replace radio with this, and it's really mind training rather than just mindless listening to whatever's being fed to you by the powers that be that want to sell you products and give you various information about the way the world is. It's not necessarily true. Saving time on meals. So this Kaz still there? She's gone. She's still there. Yeah. So what I recommend is try doing a 16-hour fast. Or 12-hour fast every day. So you just don't eat as much and you don't spend as much time on food preparation. That's kind of part of the program. Not a major part, it's optional, but it's something I want to work with Kaz on to kind of maybe in the next iteration of it starting next year, make it something that's more like an integral part of the program. So it's part of really integral transformative practice. What I've done is create a whole lot of practices that are really going to help you to shift and change your life and put them all together in a program and then try to make it as easy as possible to do that program. So this is one of those practices which certainly we can explore, look into. We're also looking at maybe incorporating yoga, some kind of yoga into the program. So you join the program, you get access to that as well. I'm not ready for this yet. Well, I'd say if you're over 30, that's really just an excuse to avoid taking responsibility for your own happiness, flow, fulfillment, purpose, and true success. Truth is no one else is responsible for these, and only you can do it for yourself. I have a sibling who's been trying to do something for 30 years, been trying to write a book for 30 years. I kid you not. It's just extraordinary. I'm going like, how did 3 decades pass and you still haven't done it? Because time just goes. If you procrastinate and you're not stepping up and learning, then goes very quickly. Half your life just disappears. So we'll give you all the tools and the support that you need to do it, to take the responsibility. There's some kind of accountability. If you want one-on-one coaching, Elaine did some of that. You can do one-on-one coaching with me to help you to get more out of the program, and use it in a way that's going to hold you accountable in a good way. I mean, when you say that, Elaine, it's not like I'm not a Zen master whacking you over the head. It's just like, there's some accountability to help you to do it. Because if you don't do it, then obviously nothing changes. not
Yeah.
ready for the set. So what I would say, if you're referencing to A Course in Miracles, this is a required course. Courses. It's a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. That's from the introduction to A Course in Miracles. So this is a required course. Like, we're all on this course. Like, spiritual growth and ultimately enlightenment is what we're all here to learn. And it's up to you when you want to take it. You have choice as to, when you want to learn, how quickly you want to learn. But, the fact that there's a course, which is to learn who you truly are, that's the course. The object of the course is to learn who you really are. That's a given. That's a required course. That's why it says. So whether you do it in this format, as through the art of letting go, or you do it in another way, you do it through the way of mastery, which I'd recommend, or the way of the cross, where you just have to wait to be hit over the head with a baseball bat by life. It's a required course. You're going to have to learn this at some point, which is quite reassuring to know. It's like, okay, well, one way or another, I've got to learn this. So why not be proactive and choose to do it now? Why wait? If the only purpose of life is to learn this course, which is going to teach me who I really am, and in the process I'll find happiness and flow and fulfillment and purpose and true success, then what am I waiting for? So I leave that up to you. But I've always just been someone like, well, let's just dive into this. Let's just do this, and not shy away and not resist and not be scared. So this is a journey that you're going to undertake if you do this, the hero's journey, which I'll send you as a follow-up to this, some more information about that. And so it's Christian in statement. So if you're Christian, then the language will be quite familiar, but it's a universal spiritual theme, and it's one version of what Jesus calls the universal curriculum. So there are many others. In other words, there are many other paths, there's many other ways. This one differs from them only in form. They all lead to God, whatever you conceive as God, the ultimate reality, ultimate source in the end. So this is one form. I think it's a particularly good form. I think Jesus is a brilliant teacher. The exercises are very helpful. The theory, the teaching is very clear. There's no ambiguity. He's not fudging it. He's saying, look, it's this way or it's this way. You need to choose. You can't choose the ego and the spirit. You must choose between these. And he makes that very, very clear in pretty much every page. The teaching is like, that's this or that, and it's getting you to see the clarity of that choice and make the choice decisively and consistently in your life. And then you have a shift if you start doing that. So you might say, I can't afford this. Well, first of all, I'd say, look, it's your happiness, your flow, fulfillment, purpose, well-being in your life. So if you don't invest in yourself, your higher self in your life, you're really saying that you're not worth it, which is kind of the whole problem that we need to address with the course. The fundamental issue everyone has is lack of self-worth. That's what comes up in every single course with everyone. So try not to devalue yourself in that way to start with, because if you do that, then you're not going to do the course and you're not going to be able to get the transformation that the course can deliver, which is to actually start valuing yourself truly. And I say that glibly, but it's a process to get there. It's a process of transformation to work through the ego, these false ego beliefs that are very deep-seated in most people. And so I guide you through that process. What I would say is action is the most powerful form of affirmation. So by paying for the course, you're telling yourself that you are worthy of it all, right? So that's part of the whole process, essential part of the transformation process. And what I've also seen is that people pay for it, they pay attention to it because they've committed something, they've got skin in the game, to use a phrase, and then they'll pay attention. And if they don't pay for it, then it's okay, well, it's a freebie, so I don't really need to pay attention to this. I can just do it whenever. And often they just don't do it. They don't get any benefit, which then kind of defeats the point of the
Can I say something? After 3 weeks of doing this course, you will know whether it's worth it for you. $500 a month. It would be a yes or no.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
that's the idea. You'll know
yes
very
or it's
clearly.
not.
And then decide. And there's no hard feelings either way. I try not to walk my talk. I don't get attached. So if you join, you don't join, and you carry on after 3 weeks, or you don't, it's all fine. I've got no personal investment in it. if you want to join, great. Part of the community. Yeah, privilege and honor to guide you through this process of your own really hero's journey. This hero's journey is your awakening to your true self, and there's a journey that you got to go on, and it's a journey out of your comfort zone. So maybe I'll just share this quickly. I was actually put it into my presentation, I think, but I'll share this with you very quickly because it's quite relevant to this whole. I'll just use it using a diagram. Can you see my screen there? Can you see that diagram, Elaine?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we use this a lot in the course. Really, this is a call. I'm just giving you a call to adventure here. Just saying, well, you're up for this. Would you like to join me? There's a whole adventure. The adventure is not anyway physical. Adventure is to go out of your comfort zone, out of the known world of your ego, what your ego is telling you are, what the reality that you think you live in, and going out of that into the unknown. And that's a fundamental change in your mindset, your beliefs, your perceptions, your attitudes, and that's it's an inner journey. And so you've had a call tonight. Okay, it's a call to adventure. Are you up for it or not? And you need to decide. The hero decides, yes, I'm up for it, because you know what, the known world, it may be kind of comfortable, but it's getting less comfortable. It's not really satisfying me. I don't really feel the happiness and the joy. I don't really feel the fulfillment that I could. And I know there's something more. And so the call to adventure is, there's something more. There's a better way, and you got to go find it. And this is a personal journey. This is an experiential journey. No one can just give this knowledge to you. You have to go on a journey to acquire the knowledge. That's the universal archetype of the hero's journey, which, by the way, is based on the teachings of Michael Joseph Campbell, who studied every major teaching and philosophy and religion out there. And he said, this is the universal theme. This is hero's journey, and this is what's going on all the time. So it's your own hero's journey. If you're up for it, you want to take a step out of the known into the unknown. This is my invitation to you to say, well, join me. I will be a helper, a mentor, a guide. You will have others. There's mighty companions on the journey with you. There's people in the community already, like Elaine, who've kind of gone through some of this process. So, we're all there helping each other to go through this, go through the challenges and the tests and the temptations, going through ultimately a rebirth experience. The abyss is the death and the rebirth, the death of the ego and the rebirth into your higher self. And that's what transformation really is. You're reborn into a higher self. And you understand what this atonement, what one-ment really means. And you bring these gifts back into your known world. Once you've done the process, return with gifts, and then you can be truly useful and helpful to other people, to help them to take their journey. And that's, I'll guide you through the whole process of finding your higher purpose and what are you really here for. But it's a profound journey. So if this resonates with you, do the free trial. That's what it suggests. You can dive in right now. I'll give you a special discount of 10,000 Rand for the whole year. You lock it in. That's a pretty amazing price. But if you're not convinced, then join on a 3-week free trial. Try it for 3 weeks and see how it goes. If you did decide to pay, it's a money back guarantee anytime within the first 3 weeks. The course or the 1-year program. So you're starting with the first 3 weeks of the program. You'll get a full refund. I've done that once before because the lady realized it wasn't for her. She was actually wanted to study the course herself, Course in Miracles. So she wanted to do it herself, and this is a facilitated, guided process. So then it's not going to work if you want to do it yourself. So if you don't want to pay anything up front, you can do the first 3 weeks free. You can get the Letting Go Meditation Power Pack, Art of Letting Go course manual, and 3 months access to the Facebook group. All free. So all those resources, which valued £120, I just give away because I'm not. I like to just be free and generous, and I'm not attached to any of it. It doesn't cost me anything to give it to you. So you can use it. Those are my gifts. After tonight, you can. If you decide to sign up, I'll send that all to you. So I just say, to close out. Really, can you afford not to do this? It's your happiness. your flow, your higher purpose, your well-being, your ability to thrive, your true success in life. All of this is priceless. Can't really put a price on this. Now, I've put numbers to it. I'm suggesting you pay money. Okay, so I put price, I put value, but honestly, this is beyond. It's priceless. You can't really value it. It's going into a domain that's beyond the material. It's beyond money. So, and I just encourage you to say, well, I'm worth it. Yeah, actually, I am priceless. My experience, my life experience, my transformation, my hero's journey is priceless, and this could help me. So let me dive in. It's not going to cost me anything to start with, and let me give it a try and approach it wholeheartedly, and you might find some miracles happening. As Yuval Noah Harari says, the best investment is in emotional intelligence and in what he calls mental balance, these kinds of skills, emotional intelligence. So, if you just look at it from a practical point of view, if you have a job, you run your own business, we need to be really flexible. And traditional training doesn't do that. Traditional training, right there it is, you learn it, you have the skill for life. This is much more, okay, you're able now to manage yourself. You're able to manage your mental and emotional state on an ongoing basis. You manage to keep balanced, to stay focused in the face of adversity, to keep changing and learning, not to be threatened by change, because you're coming from a core timeless essence. So you can reinvent yourself. And I think these kinds of skills, as I don't just think, but Yuval Noah Harari, who's one of the leading futurists in the world, he's written best-selling books and so on, saying, well, this is what it's about. This is where life is going. We're going into unprecedented change as a species. In the next 10, 20 years, society is going to change radically, dramatically from what it is currently. So how are you going to cope with that change? Well, you need to be, your life needs to be built on the rock, as Jesus said in the parable, not on the sand. So this is building it on the rock of truth. And these kinds of practices really build a solid foundation. And you're able to then be flexible in your mindset. So like, okay, so something changes, I lose my job. Okay, well, I'm not freaked out because I know who I am, and I'm not so as attached to that false identity and to the money and the status and everything the job gave me. So I'm able then to let it go and then move into another phase of my life much more easily and more seamlessly than if I'm really attached and I don't have these kinds of skills. As you probably know people who've been devastated by things like retrenchments or some kind of illness or death of someone close to them, and they just can't recover because they don't have these mental skills, which really comes down to one essential skill of the art of letting go. They haven't learnt it. So I'll leave you with this final quote. Our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You're a child of God. You're a child of love, if you want to translate that. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We're all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So I hope in some small way I've been able to do that for you this evening. There's just a summary of the various options. So if you don't want to jump into the program and do a whole year, you could just wait for the course next year. But that is going to be in February next year, so it's quite a wait. I'd recommend give it a try, dive in, either take advantage of these early bird specials, which are not going to be available again, dive in, or just say, okay, well, I'd like to do this free trial. If you'd like to have some added value like Elaine did, doing 7 hours of one-to-one sessions, then then let me know. We can do that. I do it. Did you find it helpful, Elaine, the coaching?
Very much so. Very,
It's
very
you
much
can't do that.
because
You can't do that.
there were just certain things I needed specific help with, and I knew that I needed that help. I needed the additional support.
Yeah.
Um,
So that's the idea, because in obviously in a group session I can't dedicate so much time to one person. There's maybe 5-10 people in the group. So the groups are fairly small, anything from 5 to 10, maybe even smaller than some of the sessions. So it's pretty intimate. You get to know people. There's a community. I think that's quite nice as well. You log in and it's like, oh, okay, I'm seeing the same people again, and it's my tribe really. These are people on the same path and journey from all over the world. I've got people in Germany, the UK. We had someone in America. So the idea is to expand this globally. I'm going to be doing a workshop in Findhorn, which I'll mention actually to everyone. So if you should be up, if you want something in person, physically, then come over in August to the UK and do a workshop at a place called Findhorn, which is very famous spiritual community and center. And we're going to be running a transformational workshop, which will give you what you do in the Art of Letting Go course in a few days. We'll do it's a 5-day process, kind of compressed into 5 days. So there's an opportunity to do this before next week, next year, February, if you wanted to. But it would involve some travel because I'm planning to go back to the UK. It would be amazing. We could coordinate with the holiday. It's summertime, be August, so it'll be reasonably warm. In Scotland, well, reasonably warm is like 25 degrees, but it's it's reasonable. It's not winter. So journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. If you want to join, very simple. Just let me know now or later by text or email that you want to join the program on a 3-week free trial, and I'll add you to the mailing list and the WhatsApp groups, and I'll invite you to join the Facebook group. I will send you a follow-up WhatsApp message and email tomorrow with some details. You can go and look at a website. I would have put it up here, but I just haven't had a chance. I need to change a few things, and our session went a bit longer. So I'll send that to you afterwards. You can go and have a look at it, and all the details are on there of the program, the package, costs. You can subscribe online, or just send a text or an email and say, I'm up for this. I'd like to do this on a 3-week free trial, and then you can start tomorrow. So dawn's off. So any questions? I think this brings us to question time. Anyone still around? Any questions, comments? Happy to take questions now. Let's ask everyone to unmute. Lorraine, Lee's still there. Hilton, Robin, Cheryl. Any questions on anything? Thank you for staying. It's been a little bit longer than 2 hours, but appreciate your time. Okay, so Lee, Lee, got a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to know how you accept payments. Is it a credit card link, a bank transfer, PayPal? What is that?
Yes, so good question. I have a South African account and a UK account. So if you have a South African account, you can do a transfer from your South African account into my South African account. But I also have credit and debit card facility. So if you want to do a payment online, you can do that, and it's all secure. It's done via Stripe, and you can use any Visa, Mastercard, Discover, and American Express. So card or transfer. I prefer transfer, obviously. I know you're South African, so if you still have a South African bank account, then do that. But otherwise, you accept card payments. You've got a Visa, Mastercard. It's no problem. As I said, I'll send you an email tomorrow. fact, I'll probably do it. I know you're still up. It's still quite early in the day for you, so I'll work on it. I just got to tweak a couple of things on my website, and then I'll send it out to you, Lee. So you've got the link. You can go and there's lots of information, there, testimonials from people and so on. And if you're not convinced you want to pay, then just do a 3-week free trial. Jump in and give it a go and try it. And if it works for you, then great. Then we'll talk in 3 weeks. Any other questions? Anyone else got questions? No, everyone's still muted. Okay, so I'm trying to unmute everyone. So if no one has any questions, what I'm going to offer now is, if you want to stay, I'll guide you through a little meditation based on the 10-step letting go process. So I'll send that, and I'll send that. Thank you all for staying till the end. So I'll send you the little thank you package, which is the 10-step process. There's a written worksheet as well as a recording of it, which will guide you through it in meditation and have a little bit more information about it in the second half of the recording. But I'll guide you through it right now if you want. So that's entirely up to everyone. If you need to go, then go. But if you can stay for another 20 minutes, 25 minutes, then I'll guide you through the meditation, which is quite a nice way for those who are in South Africa. It's kind of approaching bedtime. It's kind of quite a nice way to just wind down and prepare yourself for bed. So anyone up for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Elaine?
Good night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great. So Marty, Cheryl, Robin, you're gonna stay, then stay in the room. Okay, we've got a thumbs up from Lee. Lorraine,
I have to go, Jonathan.
you have to go. Okay.
Thank you so much.
So, yeah, my pleasure. So I'll be in touch tomorrow. I've got all your details because you registered. So watch your email and WhatsApp, and I'll add you to the WhatsApp group. I send out daily WhatsApp messages as well. So a little bit of inspiration every day.
Very good.
Yeah. So thank you for joining, and I hope you'll join us on the journey.
I might.
Okay. Well, just 3 weeks, give it a try. My advice is dive in and just give it a try and see. All you've got to lose is your ego.
Which is good.
All right. Thanks for joining. Have a nice evening and week ahead. Cheryl, Robin, let's just ask if anyone's gonna carry on joining us. Okay. Well, I'll assume if you're staying on, I'll assume you join the meditation. So yeah, I'll just guide you through this meditation. Let me just record it. Put yourselves on mute. So mute all. There we go. Can unmute yourself. Okay, so everyone's muted. All right, so just making yourself comfortable, sitting in a meditation posture, feet shoulder width apart. Keep your back straight. Close your eyes. And start off with a nice deep breath in through the nose. So breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises. As you breathe in, the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Notice how there's a subtle flow of energy maybe rising up. Into your heart center, into the upper chest, into the head. Feel this warm tingling thread of energy running up the spine. Clench your sphincter muscle. It's a muscle used to contract the flow of urine or squeeze the last drops out. Locks the energy in. Breathe in again, so maximal inhale breath. So your lungs are completely full. And then you just sit quietly. And in the stillness, just observe thoughts and emotions. So I want you to bring to mind some situation in your life that's difficult. So difficulty is a problem in your life, might be recent, might be long-standing. Just bring it to mind, and to start with, you're just going to acknowledge the negative thoughts and emotions. So if you're feeling like just not peaceful about it, there's some anxiety, there's frustration, there's anger, it all shows up as an inner feeling of just not being at peace. So notice that. Acknowledge it. This is the first step. You've got to acknowledge that there's a problem in order to correct the problem. Start this letting go process. Denial of negative thoughts and emotions leads to repression and suppression of them, which means that you're not consciously aware of the thoughts, and then they stay in your subconscious. So be aware, just breathe in again. So with the breath, you're just creating some spacious awareness. So it's about being fully present and aware of these thoughts and emotions. And remain somewhat detached. Don't let yourself react emotionally to them. So you don't sabotage this process. See yourself as separate from the thoughts and emotions. You're observing the mind of the person you thought was you previously. This is the beginning of the full realization you'll one day have that you're really not this person at all. Right, so that doesn't make sense to you right now, that's fine. Just observe these thoughts and emotions. Breathing deeply through your nose, take another breath in. If you find it hard to let go of thoughts, then you can open your eyes, just raise your eyes to the ceiling. Keep your chin level, raise your eyes to the ceiling as you breathe in. And you should notice as you do that, your mind kind of blanks. And then this will help you to keep your mind clear and just remain aware of your thoughts without involving yourself emotionally in them. So you're just the observer. You're observing the thought, observing the emotion, but you are not the thought and the emotion. There's a presence in you, an awareness in you that's just able to be aware of it. And this is what you're accessing now. So now remember that this is all an illusion or a dream. Okay? So remind yourself that the world and your changing perception of it, including the situation that seems to be upsetting you, is an illusion. Right? It's a dream. Live in a dream world created by your ego mind to reinforce its false and fearful identity. A dream isn't real. It isn't really happening. So then ask yourself, why am I getting upset over nothing? It's just a dream. So this might seem impossible, incomprehensible to you at this stage, and that's okay, because the ego doesn't want you to see this. That's your ego's resistance to the truth. But just be willing to do the step. So what you're going to do now, take another nice deep breath in. Remind yourself, this is all a dream. You observe the thoughts, the emotions, the sensations of this dream character that you think you are, that's now reacting. It's getting upset, angry, frustrated, jealous, whatever the emotion is. And remind yourself that whatever you think and perceive about the situation, the characters involved in it, including yourself, because you're just a character in the dream, is only an illusion or a dream. Use whichever term you find most helpful for you. And then exhale. And have a sense of just releasing. The beauty of using the breath is there's a natural release that comes. You just Let it go and release to the nothingness that it really is. Blowing it all out this is like a dark smoke, just leaving your breath. Just letting it all go into the nothingness that it really is. So you're telling your mind that's the real reason that it should let go of its attachment to these false thoughts and perceptions, because they're not real. If they're not real, they're no valid reason. You're getting upset over nothing. Maybe in this gap between breaths, you have a sense of some stillness arising beyond the thoughts, beyond the emotions. There's a presence, been called many things: presence, God, oneness, love, the ground of being, pure formless awareness, I like to call it. There's something there that's amazing. It's just arising right now in your mind as you relax into it, as you open your mind to it. So breathe in again, smoothly into the next inhale. Notice how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Clench the sphincter muscle. It's the muscle used to contract the flow of urine that locks the energy in to the spine and helps you raise the energy up the spine. So maybe you feel a little warm, tingling thread of energy moving up the spine. To your heart center. You can put one hand on your heart just to connect in with your heart space. Draw the energy up into the crown of your head. This warm wave of energy running all the way up from the lower back and the crown of your head. Just pausing at the top of the inhale. Smile. Now remind yourself, as you hold the breath briefly, that everything you experience is your projection. Even if it appears to be outside and independent of you, it's really only one mind that's dreaming the dream of the universe. The lives apparently being lived out in time and space. So we project from the ego mind, which is one shared mind. That's why we see the same world. And then we perceive it as seemingly separate individuals. That's the other aspect. And we've forgotten that we're projecting and perceiving so well, so simultaneously that we've forgotten that it's all made up. So whatever someone appears to be doing to you, you're in fact doing to yourself. Of your own unconscious guilt that you projected out into the illusion of the dream and manifested in the form of the situation and the person who appears to be causing you to suffer and making you a victim. So it's our own beliefs, really, that we're projecting. This is the problem, our own beliefs. And that leads to our perceptions of the world. Breathe in again, just to top yourself up. So it's always you who are responsible for creating your reality. You project it on one level, you perceive it on another. You've forgotten that those are both aspects of your mind. So you think that the world is external to you and that you're somehow the victim of this external world. It's got nothing to do with your beliefs, but that's not true. Truth is that your beliefs are primary. Those are the foundation, the thoughts that are projected by the ego out into the world, which then create the situations and circumstances in the world that you perceive to be threatening you. But it's actually your own thought system that's threatening you, just using the world to do that, to seemingly justify it. So exhale now. I have a sense of just letting go of these projections. Letting go of your desire to hold on to them. You're releasing them into the nothingness that they really are. blowing them all away with the breeze of your breath. Pull the lower stomach into the spine. Expel the last remaining air out. And just rest here for a few moments in stillness and peace. Breathe in again when you can't hold it anymore. So now you're going to be compassionate. Have compassion towards yourself and all others involved in the situation. Knowing that you and they are already doing the best they can in their current state of consciousness. And all unconscious, unloving behavior happens because people do not feel loved. It is in fact a cry for love. So you and any other people involved in the situation really need your love rather than your judgment and condemnation, which only make the situation worse and strengthen your ego. To let go of these destructive thoughts and emotions, find the underlying happiness that is everyone's natural state and right. So you feel a sense of understanding, just softens your judgment. Someone's done something to you. Go, well, you did the best you could within your framework, your thought system. That's really all you could do. And so then you stop blaming them and judging them as much. So now, breathe in again. I want you to just feel the emotions evoked by the thoughts you brought up in the first step fully. So whatever situations, whatever the emotions are, just feel them and give yourself permission to feel them fully. So you don't hold anything back. Just breathe in. You're in quite a good state of higher awareness. So some level you recognize these thoughts and emotions aren't true and aren't real, but you bring them to mind. Acknowledge them, notice them, but remain aware that this is just a part of the healing process. The discomfort, the pain, if you like, it's just normal, and stay in your higher awareness. You don't allow them to create a downward spiral of negativity from which it becomes hard to pull yourself out of. So don't spend more than a couple of minutes on this. Just breathe in again, observe. Okay, so what are the thoughts, what are the emotions? And thoughts and emotion shows up as sensation. What are the sensations in the body? Maybe you feel kind of a knot in your stomach, block in your chest, clenched jaw, clenched fists. Dry mouth. Sweaty palms, nausea, panic attacks at the extreme. So whatever your emotions are, notice them. So let it go. You exhale, and just step 7 is let go of the pain. So really decide that you don't want this painful negative feeling. Whatever you're feeling, you notice it and you release it with your breath. Making a conscious choice here that you don't want this, therefore you choose to let it go. If you don't want it, you must let it go. If you hold on, then you don't let it go and it remains. So you don't want this painful negative feeling inside of you to disturb your inner peace, cloud the awareness of your true happy self ever again. So you choose to release it. Release it with a breath. Just releasing this pain. you need a bit of help, breathe in again. So breathe in light into this darkness. You might perceive that there's a dark energy in your body, maybe in your chest, your stomach. Just breathe in to that darkness. Imagine you breathing in a golden or white light, or any color you prefer, whatever color, and it's flowing into your heart center, to your stomach. Breathe it in, feel the light coming in, transmuting any darkness. Another sip of air in, imagine you breathing this beautiful golden or white or green light. Every pore, every cell. Feel the light infusing every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being. And then really choose, make a conscious choice, just not to hold on to this anymore. You don't want the feeling, the negativity, the pain, the sensations of it. You don't want it. You're just going to let them all go. The help of your breath. So release them. Just let them all go with the help of your breath. Blow it all out. And deep exhale to the nothingness that it really is. And it all go. Lower stomach into the spine. Expel the last remaining air out. So you feel a sense of release. Pull the lower stomach into the spine. This energy is going, gone into the nothingness that it really is. And you feel a sense of release and relief. So finding a peace and a stillness beyond the pain. Now, just appreciate the perfection of the situation. So breathing in and out through your nose. In your own time, just deep, slow, rhythmical, relaxed breaths. Bring your mind into the present, because in the present, you can appreciate the past and the future. You can't really appreciate or be grateful for anything. In the present moment, you can be grateful for everything. So appreciate the perfection in the situation. The situation has been a mirror. It's helped you to see and to let go of your own pain and negativity. It's all perfect in its apparent imperfection. It's brought your unconscious guilt, fear, anger, any other egoic emotions, and may have remained buried in your subconscious mind through your suppression or repression of them into your awareness so they can be released. So this is all good. These emotions get triggered, it's good. So you can become aware again of them, of these blocks to the awareness of love's peace and love's presence, and you can just let those blocks go. If you cannot be aware of love, so appreciate this. It's all part of this process of mind training, help you to escape from a dream and go back. Go back to source, go back to spirit. You struggle with feeling deservable, goes against your ego's identity of being not worthy, undeserving. Just do the step. Remind yourself whatever's happened is all perfect and it's apparent imperfection. All perfect for your learning, for everyone's learning. If you can see it right, which you're just doing, you're seeing it right by correcting your perception in this exercise. And so maybe now you feel a sense of gratitude. So observing the breath flowing in and out in your own time. And sink into gratitude. Sink into that feeling deeper and deeper with each breath. Thank the person or the people involved and the entire situation. So feel the gratitude for this entire situation, everyone involved, everyone's presence and interaction, no matter what they've done, seemingly done. Because they're really your teacher, and they're giving you a gift of bringing your ego's negative thoughts and emotions to your attention. And you can become aware of them and release them. So now finally, just take one more deep breath in. Through the nose, imagine you breathing light, golden or white light or any other color, into your heart center, stomach. Just find a sense of forgiveness and release. Say to yourself that you have totally forgiven and released. Totally let go of the whole situation, the people involved in the situation and yourself, all thoughts, words, and actions related to the situation. It's been dissolved into the nothingness it always was. You and everyone else involved has been healed through your forgiveness or your letting go. So say to yourself, it's an affirmation of this, I forgive you, and name the person or people, and I'm forgiven completely. All is forgiven and released. Exhale as you do this, just release. All is forgiven and released. We always are, have been, and will be. Say to yourself, we always have, always are, have been, and will be one self. So I love you unconditionally as myself. a higher self, capital self. And you say that with meaning and feeling and intent. And you can feel that, and the resentment and the anger and bitterness is gone. And you're starting to see truly, you've seen the situation truly. There's still some resentment. In other words, you're not completely grateful to revert to the previous step. And you know that it's not quite there. And you can repeat the process. It's deep-seated. You might need to repeat the process many times. Every time you do this, you remind yourself. Remind yourself of what's true, what's real. So just sit quietly in this forgiving and forgiven state. You just let go, really, of all of your ego's trauma. So just sit quietly, a couple of minutes. There's nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just breathe in and out through your nose, relax, be still. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Any thoughts arise, let them go gently by reminding yourself that what is forgiven and released. So if it's a thought related to the situation, I forgive you, the name of the person or the name of the people, and I am forgiven completely. All is forgiven and released completely. We always are, have been, and will be one self. So I love you unconditionally. Quietly sinking into the stillness. I'll just leave you there for a couple of minutes of deep silence. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just breathe, observe the breath, relax, and be still in the stillness. Find a sense of release, freedom, unity. It's all there, waiting for you in the next 2 minutes of deep silence. So go in there and experience it for yourself for the next 2 minutes. Okay, so just gently coming back to an awareness of the body and the breath, and the senses and the world. On the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Pausing it on top of the inhale. Noticing any thoughts, any emotions going on. Maybe it's just spacious awareness. Notice that, it's very nice, pleasant. But if there are any thoughts, particularly related to the situation you just did the forgiveness on, and observe them and be wanting to just let them go. And once again, breathe into them. Imagine you breathing light in, beautiful golden or white light. Remember, it's just a feeling of lightness if you don't visualize very well. With the breath, you hold the breath briefly. And this is just a decision to let them go. Say, I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to think these thoughts. I want to feel this way. I'm going to exhale. Exhale, release the breath. Release the thoughts and emotions, letting it all go to the nothingness that it really is. Notice how the air flows out of your mouth, chest and the stomach suck back in. Pull the energy back into stomach. Expel the last remaining air out. Expel the last air out. Rest here for a few moments in stillness and peace. And breathe in again. Notice on the count of 2 the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, your feet touching the ground. Notice as you breathe in any subtle smell in your nose. Maybe there's a taste in your mouth. Notice what you're feeling with your body, touching with your hands. Notice what you're hearing. Sounds, but without interpretation, without judgment. So just observing sensations without judgment. Notice how peaceful it is when you do this. So you can stay in the state of non-judgment for the rest of the evening and on into your week ahead. So we practice not judging your sense perceptions. So we label, judge, interpret all the time. This is the ego, the world of perception. And actually you want to go beyond this into your pure formless awareness that is beyond judgment. So on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. Look around. Noticing various objects in the room around you. Very casually, there's no attempt to name them. Okay, don't name them, judge them, label them, interpret them. You just observe them. Observe your state of mind, this very calm, clear awareness, peaceful. This is what it feels like when you're forgiven. If you've really let go, then you feel cleaned out, and there's a peace that arises naturally in your mind. So be aware of that. Anchor that piece in. The more you're aware of it, the more it becomes your default state. So peace then becomes your default state. It goes with you wherever you go. Carry it with you into your sleep and into your week tomorrow. So that brings us to the end of the meditation. Thank you, everyone, for staying until the end. Much appreciated. I hope you enjoyed that. I just see there's one or two other questions, actually. So I'm just going to go into the chat quickly and just see what's going on here. Okay. So Cheryl, I don't know if you can unmute, but you asked, what is the name of the book this is based on and by whom? Okay. So I presume you're talking about A Course in Miracles there. Am I correct? So A Course in Miracles, I see a message. Can you not unmute as your microphone? Okay. So you can't unmute, but I'll just speak to you, Cheryl. So yeah, oh right, you're next to someone who's sleeping. Okay, I understand. Okay, so yeah, the primary book we study is called A Course in Miracles, which I did go through some details. So it was written by Jesus, and just channeled through this lady called Helen Schuckman, who wrote down pretty much what he said over a period of about 7 years, and then it got edited and formulated into a book, which has now been published. But the author is Jesus. In short, to answer your question, so I base a lot of it on that. I've done my own reading, other readings. So I bring in teachings from people like David Hawkins. If you're familiar with his work, Power versus Force, Eckhart Tolle, Byron Katie, and others, Joe Dispenza. I reference to this in the course and the program, because there's truth everywhere, and there's some amazing teachers on the planet that we can learn from. So I bring it all in. But the primary kind of text, the book we study, is called A Course in Miracles, by Jesus Christ himself, transcribed by Helen Schuckman. She never said she wrote it. She just said she was the scribe. So, I hope that answers your question. Yeah, does that make sense?
Okay, there we go. Hi. Sorry.
Yes. We left your bedroom.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah, I've got to be up early teaching. So, but yeah, no, thanks so much. Would you be able to just post that name? I would love to research it. I just, I am a Christ believer. I'm not a mainstream church attendant or attendee, but I am an absolute Christ believer. But and I'm actually practicing this self-observation, really, because for me it's about dividing the spirit and the soul. Yeah. And so yeah, I feel I am on this journey, but I'm always just curious to hear. And I think it's letting go of that sense of lack. Often as women, especially, maybe we just have a sense of lack because of the culture we've grown up in and haven't felt authenticated.
Men have it too.
You think so?
It just plays out differently, but
well, there we go. No, actually,
we've got a sense of lack in ourselves. You see, this is the problem.
Yeah.
I've done this work for 20 years, and you see, the foundation of the ego's thought system is a lack. You're not enough, and it comes from a lack of within yourself. You think that you are not enough. You think you are not worthy, and that's a very deep-seated belief. And so part of this work is to undo that, overturn
exactly.
So, okay,
exactly,
well, let's
which
load it.
is
You need to look at all of this. So you
yes,
bring it into awareness, and then you can release it. And if you really are the Christ, you are, this divine self. You are the Son of God, the extension of love itself. Whatever language you want to use, then you're holy and you are perfect and you are complete. And lack doesn't exist. Lack is
yeah,
an ego creation. It doesn't exist in God's mind
yeah,
at all.
Psalm 23. But it's becoming true believers. Not just systematized believers, but true. Yeah, making that that shift. So yeah, no, I've really enjoyed tonight. Sorry, I had to just unmute and then get on with some other things that I had to get prepped for tomorrow. So I don't mean to have appeared rude, but really do appreciate and thank you.
Oh, my
Yeah.
pleasure. So,
So
any thoughts? Would you like to give this a go and jump in and try the program?
so yeah, it's a great offer. It really is. I'm just at the moment also on a different a Christian mystery school. So just not wanting to, it's also meditative based and that. And so just not wanting to be grasping at too many straws, just, settling into the practice rather. But I'm very interested in, everything that you have presented. It's really sounds fantastic.
Okay. Well,
but
think about it. If
have
you,
you, yeah. So in terms of further questions on that, email address or where do we just hop on your
yeah. How did you arrive
website?
here? Did you register? There's a number of people
Yeah,
who registered.
yeah. It was
this morning.
from a link from Kaz, and then I followed the link. She had posted the link for registration.
Yeah, and then you registered on my website.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'll have your details then. If you did you put your mobile in as well?
Yes.
So mobile
Yes.
number. So yeah, I'll let me just see.
Yes, it's all
Cheryl,
there.
yeah, Cheryl
Yes.
TD at Gmail.
Yes, that's me.
Yeah. Yeah, so great. I'll add you to my mailing list and I send out WhatsApp messages every day.
Yes.
If you'd like to receive those, so there's a bit of inspirational quotes, some mind training from Course in Miracles, so you get a taste of it. You're welcome to join the live sessions in the day. I post, the times, and if you'd like to join us, on a 3-week free trial for the next 3 weeks or whenever, that's an open door. It's a 3-week free trial whenever. So
Yes.
you can join it. Maybe the timing's not right for you yet, but maybe next year it might be. Who knows? I'm starting the program again in February next year. So maybe at that stage you go, okay, well, now I'm feeling ready for this, and then you start at day one. So maybe
Yes.
we've done 6 weeks and we just started the program again. So
yeah. So I mean, in the meantime, I really would like to look at. So you say is it available online? Ruth Chapman's.
what, A Course in Miracles?
Yes.
Yeah. It's available online very much. Yeah. So
Okay.
it's really available. I put a link in the chat.
Oh, perfect. Okay, great.
So,
Thanks. I'll look back at that.
Or if you Google it, Course in Miracles, you'll find there's plenty of sites. You can get the whole book in sections online, so you can read it online. So what I do is I just facilitate that process. I chunk it down. It's okay if you really want to study this, and I chunk it down so that it's one lesson a day and one section of the text a day. And then we study it in quite a deep way. I mean, Elaine will tell you. I don't know if Elaine's still there. Elaine, you still there? We just did a session this afternoon. I literally finished it like 20 minutes before the masterclass. So we go into the text and the workbook and study it together in quite a deep way. That's really people start to get a much deeper understanding of what is quite a profound work. It's not always that easily understandable on the surface of it. So
Yes.
English is quite high and the language is not that familiar, and he's talking about
Okay.
physical concepts that are literally mind-blowing. It's like, whoa, like what is he actually saying here? You got to wrap your head around it. So this is really Christian. You talked about Christian mystery school. This is Christian mysticism.
Yes.
Actually, that's what A Course in Miracles is. It's like the deeper
Yes.
experiential aspect of Christ. What is Christ? What does this actually mean? And to have an experience of it. It's not something you can really. It's not dogmatic. You can't say, well, believe. Just have faith. It's like, yeah, but you can experience this for yourself, and you
Yes.
experience a connection with the Christ in you, and then you start to wake up. You start to awaken from the dream of the ego.
Yes.
So it's profound stuff. It's amazing teaching.
Yes.
You've got Jesus as your teacher. The Holy Spirit's guiding the whole process. It's amazing. I can't recommend it highly enough. It's been my path, and I'm not someone I'm not closed. I'm very open. So I'll continue looking. I'm always open to go like, okay, so what works? What modality works? So I'll try like Vipassana. I did a 10-day Vipassana retreat last year. Try that. Like, let's look at what Buddhism says. And in the end, you see there's one universal truth. And it's all saying the same thing, really. The highest level.
Yes.
And
Yes.
there's just different language and
Yes.
terminology.
Well,
So don't get hung up on that. There's one universal
Yes.
truth. There's one God. Whatever you
Yes.
want to call that God, whatever name, whatever symbols you create, whatever dogma you create around it, there's one fundamental presence of life and love and spirit, whatever you call it. It's there, and this is just a path to accessing that in a very clear way, a very clear, direct way. I found it very, Jesus doesn't beat about the bush. He tells you straight. He's like, okay, here's how it is. He tells you you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. Okay, your perception is wrong. It's very simple. You're wrong. You think you're right, but you're wrong. So I like his directness and just like clarity. It's like, okay, this is the way it is, and there's no ambiguity. It's a non-dual teaching, saying, look, it's this or that. There's love or fear. There's two thought systems, and you need to choose. You can't have both. You can't have love and fear in your mind at the same time and be sane.
Yeah.
One or the other.
Yeah.
So you need to choose. Which master will you serve? That's where this is coming from. And so he's saying, well, choose love, and this is how you choose love. And he's giving you very, very practical exercises, mind training exercises, and little meditations. And all I've done is I've facilitated a process where people can use A Course in Miracles as kind of the foundation, and just help them to have an experience with it, just to really study it in a disciplined, systematic way, giving them tools, resources to help you, giving a structure, so that you're more likely to do it. You're more likely to do it in a guided, systematic way. So if you do want to get more into A Course in Miracles, by all means, look at it. You can buy the book online. You can get it at Take-A-Lot and Loot and Amazon on Kindle. You can get it free online in chunks. You can read it, and if it appeals to you and you really want to dive more deeply into it, then that's what this program is designed to help you do. To go much more deeply into it and to really unpack it and understand it, so that you'll get an understanding that you would struggle to get on your own. And I speak from personal experience here. So I've studied the course myself for many years, and it took me a long time to really unpack it and start understanding it. Going like, so what is he actually saying here? What does he actually mean? Beyond the words, like, what does he actually mean here? What's the deeper teaching? And so that's what we do. And I've had 15 years now of really a deep dive into it. I've spent thousands and thousands of hours on this book, studying it myself, teaching it, practicing the lessons. So you get the benefit of that. And then in the community, we've got people who've been doing it 10 years, 15 years. So you get that experience. You come into a live session and you can pick up on that and learn from it. I've just created a community where that's all orchestrated and facilitated for you. So it's happening every day, very easy to join. It makes it easier.
Yes.
But,
No.
yeah,
Well,
when you're ready.
yeah.
When you're ready,
the
the door's
yeah.
open.
Thank you so much. I really do appreciate your time and everything from tonight.
Mm.
It's really been good. My hubby was listening in earlier, but he's also got an early day tomorrow. So,
No problem.
so yeah,
I'll send you a
just
follow-up
like
email.
to have the conversations with him too.
Yeah, I'll see what he feels. I've got couple packages. You want to do it together? That's nice, because then you can kind of help each other on the journey.
Okay. Yes. How does it work? With couple packages.
So let me just go back into my little, and I'll share my screen again. Okay, so where are we? Mastery course couple, yeah. Okay. Yeah, program. Yeah. So if you do a couple, it's you get a 10% discount. So let's say you did the whole program, which is full access. So that's all the sessions. You got access to all the live sessions, all the recordings, all the WhatsApp messages, all the emails, Facebook group, etc. For in a whole year, it's £900, which is 18,000 rand for the two of you. So that's a whole year. But both of you can do a free trial and try it, and then see if, as Elaine said, at the end of the 3 weeks, you'll know, like, okay, this is going to work. It's not going to work, because I don't want to take anyone's money and then they don't get value. That's not what I do.
Yes.
So you try it first.
Yeah.
And decide.
I think that's a great option. Thank you. Yeah.
And it's good value if you use it. Given there's like live sessions happening virtually every day. I have one day break week, but otherwise it's 8 live sessions. So that's about 35 per month, depending on the length of the month. I don't know anyone who's doing this intensity. I mean, generally live sessions maybe happen once a week, and maybe like once a week meditation. Well, this is daily. You can join anytime, and then if you can't do the live ones, you can listen to recordings. So if you can, you get it on WhatsApp, you can just be listening when you're doing other stuff, driving, cooking, so you can really use the material to immerse yourself in this. And really, in a year, the idea is that the year is transformative. It will absolutely change you. If you dive into it and you really give it a good go, and you spend a reasonable amount of time on it every day and week, you will get a profound shift. Just phenomenal what happens, because you're working with truth. You're working with the greatest master, in my opinion, who's ever lived. The greatest teacher, Jesus Christ himself, who's just a master teacher, and he's giving you his direct words, and direct, like, okay, this is a course he's designed. He's a master teacher. He knows what he's doing. The design is really, really good. And then I'm just facilitating a process to help you study it, and I add in some other stuff as well. I'm a facilitator, because someone's got to do it on this level. But when you're working with a very high master to guide you through this process, so you'll know if it works for you, and you after 3 weeks it works for you, then you'll know. And then the course either gets you or doesn't. It's going to be either like, I really want to do this, I'm kind of hooked, or no, that's not for me, and that's okay. There's many paths. I understand that. I just think this is a very good path. It's a very clear path. It's very direct. It's very quick, and so that's why I teach it. And if you into the Christian religion already, you'll be familiar with the terms. So some people. And my wife was a Buddhist when she came to this, and she had like huge resistance to the terms Christ and God and Holy Spirit, and all, atonement and all of this, because it wasn't her tradition. She was coming from another tradition, but she got into it, because like what I help people to do is interpret the language. Say, okay, so let's look beyond, like, what does this actually mean? What does he mean by the term Christ? What does he mean by Holy Spirit? We've got a whole glossary of terms. I'll just share my screen quickly, so I'll show you. I mean, I've got loads of resources, so that's the advantage. You've got all these resources, which you can use, which really clarify things, which I've developed over years. To develop it yourself, and it's going to take you probably as long as it's taken me. So let me just share my screen, and then you can see. Okay, so there's the there's the pricing of this. So I don't know if you can see that. Let's deal with this first. So what I'd recommend, there we go, that's the right one. What I'd recommend is, for a couple, if you want to do it together, the full package, £900, which is 18,000 Rand for a whole year. I mean, that's it's actually very cheap. I should make it more, but then I want people to do it. So if it's too expensive, people won't do it. But you can try the first 3 weeks free trial and then see where you go from there. You could just do the course. So if you want to wait a year, I run the course. So there you've got the pricing. Probably going to go up next year. It needs to go up, but if you've locked that in now, if you said yes, I want to book for next February, I'll give you the prices because I'm showing them to you now. So £97 individual, 175 for a couple, and then I also do the one-on-one coaching as well. So you can do that individually, or you can do it as a couple. And there you see 294, 372, 59. Okay, look at the random amounts, 597075. So those are some of the options. There are some others as well, but let's keep it simple. So if you're not sure, you don't want to commit any money, I'd suggest you just try it. You give me the okay, say yes, I'd like to sign up, and I'll add you to my mailing list in the WhatsApp group, and then you get all the communication daily, and you can join any of the live sessions. Try it for 3 weeks, and then after 3 weeks, see how you feel.
Yes, that sounds great.
Yeah,
that does.
I'll email you tomorrow with some more details about that, about the program, these pricing,
and then
link to a website.
Yeah, super. No, I'd appreciate that. And you're going to show me on your screen that page of the.
Yes. Yeah, I'll show you some of the resources. I'll give you a little back end. So we've got this glossary of terms, which we've kind of been a work in progress over the last year, which has the various terms that are used in A Course in Miracles. So things like Christ. The Christ is the idea of oneself, a symbol of the Son of God's innocence and source of the mind's right-minded vision, Christ's vision. So then you've got a resource. You can go, okay, so what does that actually mean? Christ is your one self. It's the one true self that is the Son of God. If you want to, and then we have Son of God. So what's the Son of God? So I think from a Christian perspective, you might quite enjoy this. There's a lot of value in this. Son of God, the extension of pure formless awareness. Right? So God is pure formless awareness. It still thinks it is separate from this awareness. So it's kind of a mystical understanding of what God is. God, Father, Source, Creator, pure formless awareness, unconditional love, perfect oneness. So there's just in this document alone, then there's various others. There's a whole where are we? Let's come back here. There's a whole course manual, so it's like 50 odd pages of pretty detailed information. This process we just went through, the 10-step letting go process. So there's a whole course manual which you get if you do the whole program. You do the course next year, and there's various resources in here. It's like loads of I've done whatever's helpful. So there's a timeline. There's a timeline of consciousness. Just to illustrate. So then when we're doing the lessons and the text, I reference to these diagrams quite often. Say, look, this is how it works. This is what it's about. So that it's diagrammatically explained.
Yes.
Trying to make it as clear as possible for people.
Yes.
Diagrams make it clear. So there's another tool we're working with today, which is quite interesting. It's levels of mind. So it's talking about the different levels of our mind, and then where do you transform it? You just transform it at the level of what do you really desire or pray for. It's another word for desire. And then I use all these tools just to help people.
Yeah. Well, these are also conversations I'd love to have with my hubby. The concept of putting this onto some form of app. You know, my hubby's a programmer.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. You know, so it's that kind of
something I've
concept.
definitely thought about, but
Yes.
haven't quite got to it because, well,
Yeah.
time and money.
Yeah.
two
Yeah.
limitations there, which apparently are real in this world. It costs quite a bit of money. I got a quote a couple of years ago, but honestly, I wasn't ready. I was like, you know what, it's premature. I need to develop this more into something that's, you know, I've got the content there available
understood.
without an app. It's on, you know, it's on various mediums. It's on WhatsApp and it's in the Facebook group and it's, you know, but an app would be great. Yeah. So I'm very open to just
to have these conversations, you know.
Yeah. Would be
well,
interesting.
I mean, no, well, he's a genius at this kind of thing. So, you know, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. Okay.
You know.
Well, invite him to join us for you know, for a couple of sessions at least, so I can meet him. You can get a sense of it. And you know, if he's open to the spiritual stuff, then that's ideal because then you got an app designer who's not just technical, who actually understands, you know, the material.
Well, that's why I think it would be great for him to have a conversation with you, actually.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, great. Well, let's.
But I mean, I'm speaking on his behalf, which is not ideal.
Yeah, join us for a live session.
Yeah.
I'll send you the details.
No, definitely. Well, no.
So in the week I do live sessions. You know, join one of them and ask him to join, and can get a sense of what it is, and can show him the recording of this because it's all on YouTube, and can get a sense of what it's all about. And I'm not in a position to go, okay, yeah, I've got the money to do it yet, but that might change.
Well, you know what, also it's about sometimes, you know, risk on the behalf, you know, it's not always about the money up front, it's about co-create. So I don't know, as I say, like I shouldn't be speaking on his behalf, but
why did you say, why did you yeah, but it's fine, it's just exploration, you know.
You know, he is sometimes open to those kind of things. So it is, whether it finds resonance, and then, you know, then that's why I think that would be his conversation. But these are just thoughts that cross my mind in this, you know, this evening. So
fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll set it up, and I'll send you an email tomorrow with various details you can share with him. So.
Great, thanks, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Okay.
My pleasure.
Well, I'm going to hop off and get some sleep.
I go to bed. It's nearly 12. Wow.
Yes.
I've actually been on Zoom solid from 2:30 this afternoon. How's that?
Oh my hat.
It's called Zoom Stamina.
Yeah, no.
No, I enjoy it. I love it. But it's you just you go like, wow, that's a long time.
No, it's a long time. It's a long time. Sure. Need to get out into the garden sometime.
Tomorrow, I will.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much, and really appreciate your time. Thank you. God bless. Hey.
Right. You too.
All right.
You too.
Bye.
Thanks. Okay. Bye. Okay. So still some people on. I wonder if it's Robin, Samati, anyone still there? Elaine. Maybe everyone's gone to sleep. Okay, so I'm going to assume everyone's gone, so I'm going to sign off now. For those who are still online, I'm not being rude, but yeah, time to get offline, I think. So thank you everyone for joining. Appreciate the time. I'll be in touch tomorrow with an email as well as a WhatsApp with some more information about how you can take this forward. So respond to that, and I hope to see you soon. Namaste. This means the divine in me acknowledges and honors that same divine presence in you.